Yeah.
Whew, man, that's hilarious. Oh man.
Yeah, man. Hey, gotta
Damn,
do it.
them YouTube commercials, man.
Gotta
know how to
do
do
it.
that, bro.
Go to watch
Hey, make sure-
Severe Shorts, and you got a 4-second ad on a 25-second video.
Exactly.
You can't skip it.
Hey.
Oh man.
If I could throw an ad on the short, bro, hey, I'd do it.
Man.
Yeah, man.
I don't think no, I don't think there's ads on shorts.
Nah, no, there's not.
But that'd be crazy though. If you had
But if there could be, Severe would have you.
Oh, for sure,
10-second
bro.
video, 5-second.
Yeah. You'll get a 30-second video with 2 ad breaks, bro. It's like
oh man. Hey man. We got a special show today, man. Don't forget to clock in. Hit that like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Here we go.
Great Pharaoh, the gift of Troy is a fabulous fabric from the land of the 5 rivers.
Years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
We are back for another edition of Around the Shield, man. And we got a special guest in the building. We got Raider Way in the building.
What's up, guys?
What's going on, Ray, man? How you been, bro?
Good, I'm doing good. I just on a little work trip, got invited to come on Around the Shield and had to hop on here and chop up some football.
I know, man. We've been talking behind the scenes, but we got to bring this conversation to YouTube, the YouTube streets, man. We gotta talk some football, man. We gotta talk some Raider offseason. I mean, this is the best part of Raider football is the offseason, man. We get to think about the possibilities, and obviously this offseason we could talk about quarterbacks, number 1 pick, head coach. Man, we could do all that, man. But salute to everybody pulling up. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell. Yeah, man, appreciate everybody's patience. It's all good, man. We, sometimes we deal with some technical issues, but we still are here to talk some football. Man, a lot's been going on, man. Salute. I only see McDaniel as an OC. Yeah, man. I agree. I look at him as an OC, not a head coach, me personally. I guess we could start that. We could start off real quick, man. Like, obviously we found out that Harbaugh was fired. Like, was it yesterday? A couple days ago?
A couple days ago.
And I know a lot of people have been talking about Harbaugh connection, and I think we might have talked about it on around on 50-50 show, Severe. Kind of the same. How I feel about it is the same way I feel about Tomlin possibly being available. It's like just not the right time, man. It's just not a good fit to me, in my opinion. They're gonna want too much power. Raiders need to rebuild this thing right and build the foundation. In order to do that, we have to go with a different option where a coach is not gonna want like supreme roster control, personnel, all that stuff that we've seen in the past. That that can go left real quick. So we need Spytech to build this thing right with a young coach, in my opinion. But Ray, man, like, what do you think of Mike McDaniel? Do you look at him as a head coach option? Do you look at him as just an OC, or how does that?
Obviously, I think I would prefer him as an OC. I think it's just going to depend on how a lot of these dominoes fall. One thing about this coaching cycle is like, I have a feeling that. All right, a few things. This is a weird year for the NFL. There's a few teams that kind of came out of nowhere, and a result of that is there's a lot of weird firings going on, and there's a lot of guys losing their job that I kind of didn't expect to lose their job. So that kind of shakes up the NFL a little bit. So as opposed to last year, like I really like this coaching cycle just because you can kind of mix and match more pieces this year that are more intriguing. So overall, for Mike McDaniel specifically, he's one of those guys that fall under the category of, if it was me, if I was Spytech, I'd probably bring him in as an OC and pair him with a rock solid defensive minded head coach. But we'll see. We just got to see how some of these coaching pieces fall.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, like, I just individually, me personally, I would have Flores ranked above Salah. But the fact that I think if you hire Salah as your head coach, there's a very good chance that he brings on Mike McDaniel as an OC. I think that pairing right there, you already have a legit pairing with a very good defensive mind and a very good offensive mind. Like, if we were to hire Flores, I don't know who his OC would be. If it's Brian Daboll, okay, I'm interested. If it's Josh McCown, okay, I'm interested, but I don't know if that's the direction he necessarily goes or not. So that's why, like, if it's Salah and Mike McDaniel, that's very solid. They have chemistry from working together with the 49ers. I think that's a solid pairing right there.
Who does Raheem Morris have connections with? Like, if we brought him in as a DC, like, who does he have connections with?
Michael LaFleur.
See, okay. He definitely with the Rams. But I would, if Raheem Morris is an option at DC, I see him pairing more with a offensive head coach.
Yeah.
More because I know we're talking about Robert Saleh and Mike McDaniel. I mean, we wouldn't get Raheem Morris at DC.
No.
Could Clint Kubiak bring in Raheem Morris?
I don't believe so. Somebody threw that out there. I don't know if there's any connections there. Because with Michael LaFleur, I know for sure Michael LaFleur, when Raheem Morris worked in Atlanta, Raheem Morris, ironically, he was on the offensive side of the ball on the coaching staff there. He was an offensive assistant. And so was Michael LaFleur. Now, obviously, Michael LaFleur has the connections with Kyle Shanahan. And from Atlanta as well, I want to say. And I think Raheem Morris worked with him in Washington, and then obviously they both recently worked under Sean McVay with the Rams. So I think that's a natural connection right there. Like, but with Clint Kubiak, I don't know who he really has any connections with.
Well, I think he originated from he was with the Vikings for a second, and then he was with the 49ers. Then from the 49ers, he I think went to the Saints, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I know he went to the Saints, but I'm just saying before the Saints, I think it might have been.
It was the 49ers.
It was the 49ers, right? So maybe you can connect him to. Oh man, it's gonna be tough. That might be a stretch because a lot of I know a lot of people want to like mix and match a lot of good names, but at the end of the day, it's all about relationships.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? We've seen that firsthand with Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly, and you can see how that won't work. You know, it's going to be a lot of like mind games going on with the coaching staff, like because you don't trust the guy, right? So you don't feel like he's going to do the things that you want. So everybody got to be on the same page. I feel like the Raiders, if they've learned anything, everybody has to be on the same page, and that starts with Spytek, that starts with Tom Brady. And then that starts with the coaching staff. Even when you hear Spytek, they asked him directly in that pressure this week. They asked him like about hiring, coaching staffs. Do you leave that? Are you guys going to be in on that, or is that going to be, is that going to be something that the coaches are going to do themselves? And he says they're going to have those conversations of who, what, where, and trying to understand where you guys are going to go with the coaching staff hires. But at the end of the day, it's going to be with the head coach. So at least he knows they're saying all the right things. It sounds like Spytek is going to be leading the way here with Tom Brady in the background, talking him through every little step, or at least the big ones. I mean, not the daily mundane, stuff. So, man, I don't know. I mean, go ahead.
Real quick. Can you just turn down the background music just a little bit? I'm just picking it up. It's just loud on my end. My fault.
Yeah. Go ahead.
But no, I was gonna say honestly, ultimately, like one thing that kind of encouraged me. One, you guys kind of talked about it on the last show, was the clear vision about Mark Davis, about like being clear who's in charge.
Is it good now?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
It was just coming through real loud on my end. My fault.
Yeah, it's all good.
But obviously just setting a clear vision, because I feel like that's something our organization has lacked. Like, they've been missing that. There's just been too many question marks, like, man, who's making the final call? Who's doing this? So to come out like and just kind of clear the air that John Spytek he's going to be behind all football operations in cohesion with Tom Brady. I like the clarity of that. But also, man, I just like the fact that, like the Harbaugh example, in times past, that's something that the Raiders would have just jumped on. You know what I mean? That without going through a thorough process, without casting a wide net, that's something they would have just, without even an interview, like they would have just jumped on that and made the hire. Just something that I love seeing right now is the wide net being cast. I mean, we're interviewing a ton of people, so it's like that gives me a lot of assurance. You know what I mean? So that's just something that I see so far that's taken place that I can already tell is different. So that's encouraging to me.
Yeah, no, agreed. Because we didn't cast a wide net last year. We kind of locked in on Ben Johnson, and I don't know if this was like a Brady ego thing or what the case was, but like it seems we didn't have a solid plan B. It was we're gonna, and it's discouraging because Ben Johnson had already kind of expressed his disinterest in the Raiders job when he told them, like, yo, do not request an interview from me because I'm going to tell you no, and I don't want to embarrass you like that. And then we kind of leveraged Tom Brady's relationships to get that virtual interview. He didn't even want to come to the building for the interview, so that kind of told you a lot right there. So like, and then once we didn't get that done, then we did like the Rooney Rule guys. I think we interviewed Leslie Frazier and then Vance Joseph last time, and then we kind of just settled for geriatric Pete Carroll. So it's like at least this time we're getting candidates from like a wide range. Like we doing the Matt Nagy thing. We're bringing Vance Joseph back in, but then Davis Webb. Okay, I like that, right? We requested Clint Kubiak. Okay, I'm down with that. So it seems we're doing a much better job of we're being way more thorough this year than last year.
That Davis Webb interview is kind of interesting. He's like 30 years old, but like I've been hearing his name a lot. Like a lot. People are talking really high about him as a candidate, but I think right now he's a QB coach. It's a big jump from him, and it's not like we haven't seen it. We've seen like former linebacker coaches become head coaches. You know what I mean? I'm not even talking about just AP, but like Brian Flores was a former linebacker coach who became a head coach. You know what I mean? So there's plenty of examples of like position coaches that become head coaches, but like I feel like it would make sense for. I think the Raiders are doing their due diligence, which I like, and I can see him being a situation if they went with a defensive candidate at head coach. Maybe he might be an OC option.
Yeah, that that interview to me tells me like I don't think the Raiders are sold on him as obviously a head coach candidate. I think someone that they're interested in dropped his name and they're interviewing him, getting an idea on whether that is an OC, whether he may come here and be a quarterback coach. Somebody that they're interested in is connected to him in some way, shape, and form. So it's just, you got to kind of connect the dots with all of these things. But I mean, I like all of them. Like, I know Severe said like he likes Brian Flores, but when you got, I think what makes, you said you'd rather have Brian Flores over Saleh. I think now that Mike McDaniel got fired, I think I might lean Saleh because I feel like he could probably get Mike McDaniel.
Exactly.
Like, before I would actually probably agree with you, like, but I think like with all the events that happened today, like how fast the NFL changes, I feel like, man, that might be something to actually look into. Because if you can get Saleh and you land Mike McDaniel, like, you're kind of hitting the ground running there.
Yeah, no, completely agree. Like individually, I prefer Flores, but as you kind of said, I think Saleh would bring Mike McDaniel, or there's a very good chance that pairing would happen. So, like, I think that kind of edge puts him a little bit ahead of Flores because of the possibility, you know. But like I said, I would need some assurances there. But you know, like if you can make that happen, I think that's a great tandem.
See, I also like too. I think somebody who's kind of sneaky, because we see like what Mike McDaniel's done or Mike McDonald has done, and a guy who reminds me of that is like Jesse Minter. Like Jesse Minter seems like one of those young-minded, like he's going to believe in a solid run game. He's going to believe in, you know, playing under center, play action. All the multiple looks he gives defensively with guys who aren't necessarily like high-end talent. Like, I think what would make him good for the Raiders is obviously the biggest aspect to me would be unity within ownership, the general manager, and the head coach. I think that hire, like the interesting thing about this hiring cycle is they all have their own different caveats and they all have their own reasons why you would hire them, but they also come with their own like catch-22s. So you're just kind of weighing what matters most within the Raiders organization. You know, is it an offensive-minded play caller to pair with a head coach, you know, taking a quarterback at one? Is that what you value? Okay. If so, if it's Dante Moore, if it's Fernando Mendoza, whoever it is you're hiring, it can't be any of this like Tom Brady wants Fernando, John wants Dante, and the head coach wants somebody else. There cannot be any of that. So if it's Jesse Minter and Tom Brady and John Spytek and they're completely sold out on Fernando, then good. Make the hire and roll with it. But there has to be clarity at every level.
Now, facts. But I agree. Because it can't be a, you know, ironically enough, a Brian Flores situation where, you know, it seems like ownership and the GM, they were all in on Tua. Brian Flores, you know, he wanted Justin Herbert. He didn't have that united front. And, you know, did that affect Tua's development? I'm sure. Did he already come with some flaws? Yes. You know, Brian Flores was pretty accurate about what those flaws were. But, you know, I'm sure just not having the full belief of your head coach, that affects a guy. So, like you said, like they all got to be completely united in terms of what they want to do at the top of the draft. So, I mean, I like Jesse Minter. Like his story is very similar actually to Mike McDonald's because they both were Michigan coordinators, they have the relationships to the Harbaughs. They came up to the league. Only difference is, I think, Mike McDaniel, he had spent like years in the league because he was on Wink staff, and then Jim hired him to be defensive coordinator at Michigan, and then John fired Wink and brought him up and brought Mike McDaniel up to be defensive coordinator after he fired Wink. So he had a lot of NFL experience already, just working under Wink Martindale. I don't know if Jesse Minter has that same level of NFL experience.
Yeah, man. It's funny that like some of these scenarios of head coach and OCs, we kind of talked about it during the season. We talked about the Brian Flores. We've talked about the Robert Saleh, especially when we found out that the Raiders interviewed him for a head coach, then also try to talk him into becoming a DC with a promise for him to become a head coach. So we start looking at the possibilities, and we're like, you know what? If Mike McDaniel gets let go by the Dolphins, because we heard he was on a hot seat at some point in the season, maybe that could be, a possibility. Or somebody from that Shanahan coaching staff, along with, his connections there. So like, we thought about the possibilities. The only problem though is with Saleh that has me a little nervous. He did have some issues with the Jets as far as like, just overall discipline with the team, and then clock management, things like that. Where you'd be like, but does Mike McDaniel kind of make up for that? Does he make up for that? Because the defense was good with the Jets. Yeah. Just the offense wasn't where you wanted to be. So that combination is crazy. But Brian Flores situation, I feel like Brian Flores potentially, I think he's shown better as a head coach than Robert Saleh. You know what I mean? Because to me, I felt like he was able to maximize that group with the Jets. I mean, not with the Jets, with the Dolphins.
Yeah.
So if he can come in here and then, I know Brian Daboll is not as strong he's not as strong as you would OC as you would want compared to like Mike McDaniel, but at least Daboll has a little bit of quarterback development in his background. He's coordinated some top offenses.
He makes me nervous in the sense of like kind of going back to the unity conversation, is like, if Brian Daboll is not sold on the quarterback you're taking, like if you hire Daboll and he's not in on Fernando, this unity conversation we're having, I've seen him not have his guy at quarterback and it not work. Like it looks pretty bad. The Daniel Jones, Jackson Dart situation. So it's like, or Russell Wilson, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
that whole situation. He had a guy that clearly he clicked with and his system operated well with. There was things he was looking for. If Fernando doesn't match up with that, whether it's athletically or whatever that may be for him, that's, again, it kind of goes back to all these guys have kind of like there's a caveat to a lot of these guys.
Yeah. No, facts. 100%. Appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell.
Ironically, though, I think if we do Daboll, I think Daboll would match up better with Mendoza. And I think if we do Dante Moore, I think Dante Moore and Mike McDaniel, I think that they're more simpatico there. It seems like, because Mendoza, they're not like a quick timing like offense. Like they like to push the ball downfield. They like to do RPO. They like to do stuff off of play action. Obviously, they run the ball extremely well, and he's very, very good at executing and making the right decisions in the RPO game. And there's a lot of throws outside. Like that's what he likes to do, and it seems that's what Jackson Dart likes to do. And it's what Daboll is doing with Josh Allen. It's not like dink and dunk up the field. They're going for chunk plays, and I think Moore would operate better in a Mike McDaniel, like Tua, like I'm gonna let you play point guard type of deal. So I mean, ironically, I think if we do go Daboll, like I think he would like Mendoza a lot. Not saying like Mendoza can't fit in with both guys, but I think he fits better with Daboll.
Well, we're kind of getting into it anyways. So we're getting into like the more Mendoza conversation. So it's like, this is kind of how I view it, because we're starting to talk about like quarterbacks paired with what OC. And to be honest, like when I watch these two guys, like based off in that national media narrative, like I know you guys have your own strong opinions. Like I don't necessarily go on national perspective, and I know you guys hold similar values in that. Like you trust your own eyes. But when I watch them as both prospects, I don't see, they're not crazy different in a lot of sense. Like they're both accurate. They both are poised in the pocket. They both have good, not like elite level arms. I think they both process really well. Like for me, the quarterback evaluation comes down to the smaller, more refined things between the two. So for me, I would say it comes down to the physical traits. Like when I watch Dante Moore, there's been a few quarterbacks in the past that, like Pharaoh knows, when I have like questions about him as far as durability, like that stuff matters to me, and I'll like put it out there. So like when JJ McCarthy was coming out and we were having those discussions, like I was worried about his durability at the next level. Michael Penix was one of those guys that I had personal questions about his durability. Who else? Jaden Daniels. He was my number one quarterback, but I talked about his frame being, hey, he's going to have to work on his frame at the next level because he's going to take shots. So when I watch Dante, I've watched every game. I've watched every snap this season, and there's just been little things that he's dealt with. You know what I mean? And I know it's circumstantial, but it's his frame for me. Like I don't believe he's 6'3". I would probably say he's like 6'2 and a quarter. And I know we're nitpicking, but we're talking about the number one pick. I know he's 200 pounds, 210 it says, but he might be even a little bit more thin than that.
Like,
I don't know.
Like 205. I think I'll put in like 205, something like that.
Yeah,
he for sure
I
ain't
mean,
210.
He's not 210, but it's just the little thing. It's his game. And then it's like, man, if we're talking about higher ceiling with them, okay, are we talking about athleticism? Because I still feel like Dante, if he runs a good 40, he's still going to probably be in that 4.9 range, probably. Like, I don't think his athleticism is to the point where we're talking like a Jaden Daniels.
4.9.
Yeah, I think
ain't
like
no Connor ran a 4. Ain't no Connor ran a 4.7.
No, I thought Derek Carr ran a 4.9.
No, Derek Carr ran like a 4.6 or 4.7 too. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, 4.6. Don't 4.9. No, I'll say 4.6.
Yeah, it's like 4.9. That's like offensive lineman. Like he's like.
Yeah. No, I see like that type of athleticism. I see like quickness in his step. I don't see like speed. So if we're gonna base upside based off of athleticism, I don't know if the gap is as astronomical as what the media is saying. I don't, like, arm talent wise, I don't think like the gaps are as astronomical as what they're saying. Like they're all pretty similar. It's just, for me, it comes down to the little details of the two prospects.
Yeah, man. I look at Mendoza as the safer pick, the safer guy. You know what I mean? Just because he's checked a lot of boxes this season, because we've been able to see him go against like, you know, better competition, or at least more teams that you would consider like have a lot of NFL talent. Like he played against Ohio State, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, we'll see. I just remember talking to people and saying like, we'll see what he does against Ohio State. You know, like I don't know what he's gonna. He showed up. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he had a spectacular game, but he was able to manage that game, obviously, and make some big time throws in the game, and obviously they went ahead and won the game like that. Man, I see what you're saying about his athleticism. I told Severe this too, and I'm like, I don't look at him as like his athleticism is like a Lamar Jackson or like Jaden Daniels. You know, it's not
the athleticism we're talking about.
I do give him the edge over Mendoza though.
Yeah.
But that's not even saying Mendoza is not like athletic at all. He has some sneaky athleticism to his game too, but I think Mendoza is more of like a straight line, like athlete. You know what I mean? He's not gonna like try to shake someone. I've seen like more, you know, like make a little quick move. Like because I remember I was sending you like a little spin move that Moore had. Like I sent it to you, and you sent me a spin move that Mendoza, like it was hell. It was like one of those like he turned around and he broke a tackle,
like split off a defender.
Yeah. It wasn't like a clean like he set it up, did a clean little spin move. Like it wasn't one of those.
I'll put it this way: it's like the quarterback that you watch, like with the eye, who has the better release, like on film, like when I'm watching it, who's the more smooth thrower? I would say it's Dante Moore. Who looks like the more smooth and fluid athlete? I would say it's Dante Moore. Like he just looks more natural of a mover. Now, but what you have to do is put in perspective, like, do they make all the throws? So regardless of the offense, so Dante Moore, for example, coming from a Will Stein offense, 23.5% of the throws are at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage. So Will Stein, what did he do with Bo Nix? What did he do with Dylan Gabriel? What has he done with Dante Moore? He's taken these guys and he's gotten their completion percentage up to 70%. He's done that across the board with basically any quarterback that he's had. He has a really good system. And it's, when I'm looking at it and I'm looking at these prospects, since they are pretty equal, in my opinion, it comes down to processing. What are you looking at? How are you handling NFL style defenses? It's more of those things. And it's like, man, both of them really do have all the throws. Like, I can make a cut up of throws that Dante Moore makes that are NFL level throws, and he can make all the throws in the book. I can do the same thing with Fernando Mendoza. Does one look cleaner than the other with his release? Sure. But the point of the matter is they both can do those things. Yeah. So for me, like the Alabama game was big. Not only has like Fernando overcome Iowa and the Penn State drive, and then he goes on to beat Ohio State. But when he played Alabama, for those who don't know, has a really they give you a ton of NFL looks. And what I mean by that, they're going to put...
That's not the case anymore, though. See, that's what people keep doing. They keep going back to old Alabama. Alabama wasn't not a good defensive team this year.
No, I'm not even talking about where they rank statistically. I'm talking about looks. I'm not saying it's a Saban defense. I'm not saying they're the top of the country. I'm saying looks. So 7 to 8 man boxes, linebackers up at the line of scrimmage, playing bluff, dropping linebackers, bringing in a nickel. What they did, they made Mendoza process a lot at the line of scrimmage. They gave him a lot to look at. So they were running too high, and then they would invert it. They would drop a safety down in the box and make it single high. They were running a ton of coverage games and making Mendoza think. And what did Mendoza do? Man, he trusted his processing. Mendoza is big on pre-snap protection. And so when you watch him play, he's able to get pre-snap, identify where the blitz in his hot is, and he's able to execute at a high level. Like, even if you don't like him, if he's corny, he's quirky, whatever, his ability to recognize protection and pre-snap processes, it's really good. Like, I'm not going to take it away. It's really good. And so when he hit Becker on that post, he was looking at a cover zero. He had linebackers in the box. Usually they were dropping him back.
Come on for the touchdown?
Yeah, for the touchdown.
They
gave a cover zero. They gave a cover zero.
But that's the thing. Like, it was middle of the field open. So, like, that wasn't a great throw. He should have threw that more. He threw that closer to that hash mark. He should have led him further. So he made that throw more difficult than it had to be. So if he makes the proper read there, he lays the throw out there and lets Becker run it like that. But it was a good throw. It was a better catch. It was a good ball, but it was a much better catch. But there's not a single person that Dante Moore has on his team that makes that catch, or the catch on the sideline that Becker made, right? So that stuff matters. So incompletions that will go against Dante Moore, like, he doesn't have a single person that makes that catch in the end zone. Even though I think it was a good throw, it could have been a better throw, could have been better placement, because if he read it right, he had middle of the field open. He didn't have to throw that jump ball in the back of the end zone. Just leave the man out there. It's literally nobody in the middle of the field. And that's stuff I see where he'll lock on to one receiver, or pre-snap, he sees something and he locks on. And he'll throw in the triple. And that's like stuff he did at Cal. Kirk Cignetti has gotten him out of that, but he still falls back to that habit, especially when he's pressured in the game. Like, them being able to run RPO and have the threat of the run, that dictates a lot of what how the defense, a lot of what they're doing. So, like, you see, like, early in the game, like, Alabama was able to get some pressure on him. That first drive, he struggled. Then they established the run. Once they established the run and they started going to their RPO game, that's when Mendoza settled in. And then that's once the threat of the run was there and they were actually running effectively, And then Mendoza built his confidence up. Then they couldn't do anything with him. But like that first drive, like it looked shaky.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first drive of a big game. Like, I'm not gonna put too much stock in the first drive. I'll say Dante Moore has almost the same issues, in my opinion. There's times I've seen Dante Moore lock on to receivers pre-snap, and he's like, I'm going here with the ball. Like, my arm can fit it through this window, and it's kind of come back to bite him. Like, they both do it. They're not like, we can nitpick our game, which that's what we do at 101. That's what we should be doing. But what I'm saying is, on that look, we're talking about the Becker touchdown, the one that you're talking about, the throw. He did have a flat, wide open. I mean, that's something he could have taken. He would have not been poorly graded for that throw. And honestly, against cover zero with the nickel blitzing, it's actually it's a smart read. There's no coach that's going to say, hey, don't take the check down in the flat, get to your hot. The fact that he was able to identify, trust his protection, trust his slide, and then fit a ball down in there, like whether you agree or not with the placement of it, the fact of the matter is Fernando's going to be throwing to NFL caliber players here soon. Dante Moore is going to be throwing to NFL caliber wide receivers soon. So whether Dante has that right now or not, he's going to here soon enough. And I think both of them can make those throws. That's basically my whole point. It's just whether you want to say the placement of the ball was ideal or not, it's more of my point is pre-snap, he's processing a lot of information. And he processed a lot of information on that play given what Alabama was showing him throughout the game. Because a lot of times they were dropping those backers, showing cover zero, but not sending everybody. And on that play in particular, he was able to identify live, oh, they're coming. And when they came, he didn't just go to his check down. He set up his guy and gave his guy an opportunity, and it worked out. So it's just stuff like that like it impresses me. Like it's not, I don't know. So it's those little aspects of like experience for Fernando as opposed to Dante Moore. It just kind of leans me more. Like in my opinion, I would love to see Dante kind of go back or at least sit for a year and just garner experience. And that kind of goes for any rookie, to be honest with you. But for the Raiders specific, we're talking obviously Raiders specifically, I think the best case scenario would be to have a guy who could kind of step in right away, not be great, but kind of manage and process information well. And for me, I would say Fernando is probably the best bet right now.
Yeah,
Man. Hey man, you're making a case for Mendoza. I know, Severe, you've been a Dante Moore guy day one, but you want to add to what he was about to say?
No, I was saying, like, I think we had this conversation. I don't know if we had it on cam or off cam, but like if you're looking at who's going to be the better player year one, like if we were a further along team and like, man, we just need a quarterback year one and we think we can compete, I'm going Mendoza. I think by the middle of year two, Dante Moore is the better player. I think it's like, you know, pretty clear at that point that he's going to be the better player. And I think you look at 5 years down the road, I think there's a much wider gap. So, and I don't think the Raiders are going to be competing in year one or year two. So if you have Dante Moore in 2 years is going to be the age that Fernando Mendoza is now. So if you look at that, while we're building up, he's getting older, getting better, also developing his body. Like, I think, like, if we needed to compete right away, Mendoza is the guy. But I don't think we're in that position. And I think that Spytek, you know, he kind of already intimated at this press conference that he understands you have to take a longer term view at things. And I think taking a longer term view, I'm betting on Dante Moore being the better player than Fernando Mendoza in 2 years.
So, okay, and hear me out on this, and you guys let me know if you agree or not, because this is how I view it. Because in this process, this time of year, we get caught up in the words like ceilings and stuff. The way I look at Fernando and the way I look at Dante Moore, they're pretty similar talent. I mean, they do a lot of the things the same. They're game, okay? We can talk about who has more athleticism, separates, whatever. I wouldn't say any of these dudes are generational, and I would say both of their careers are going to be determined on the organization they go to, one, and two, what does that organization do to put the pieces around that player to succeed the best? And I think whichever one gets the better of those things is going to probably have the better career. So these ceiling conversations is, we can say hypotheticals, but Fernando Mendoza's ceiling can grow exponentially if the right pieces are around him. And projections can be off. You know what I mean? It's quick and easy to say, oh, he reminds me of Jared Goff, or for Dante Moore to say he reminds me of CJ Stroud. Well, there's a world and there's a chance where they don't end up being like those players at all. You know what I mean? It's just a projection. So whatever organization takes these guys, it's going to be the organization that puts the right guys around them in order for them to succeed, because I don't see any of them as generational. That's just my point. So when we talk about ceilings are very determined based off of the organization, in my opinion. That in order for a player to reach a ceiling, the organization has to do a lot of things to put pieces around him. That's all that's how I feel about like the term ceiling.
Well, hey, there's gonna be a big game coming up. It's gonna be Oregon versus Indiana tomorrow. Do you think that's gonna be a major determining factor to who you want with that number 1 pick, Ray?
No, because I think I think you might throw the baby out with the bathwater if you're going to put a lot of stock in a game. Obviously, it's a big game. It's to go to the national championship. This game has bigger height and a bigger sense of this is bigger. It's the biggest game for both of them. However, like when you're evaluating a quarterback prospect, like, man, you can't just throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like, even if like Fernando goes out there and balls out, right? And Dante Moore might struggle. You can't just throw out everything that Dante Moore has done throughout the season. Or same goes with Fernando Mendoza. If Fernando struggles against Oregon, you can't just say, oh, well, the Iowa game didn't happen. Oh, the Penn State game didn't happen. The Ohio State game didn't happen. The Alabama game didn't happen. You can't do that. So I put a lot of weight into the game. Like, obviously, it's a big game for both of them. How do they handle that pressure in that moment? That'll be big for both of them. But you got to evaluate every game and every circumstance and drives and snaps and situations. So there's more to evaluating quarterbacks for me than just one game. Yeah, it's a big game for both.
Yeah, no, I hear you, but it's just that, you know, it's like you said, it's close.
It's close.
So if it's close and you it's a playoff game, it's a big game, and let's say Dante Moore balls out, and then let's say if Oregon goes out and wins the national championship, you know, maybe that's where the Dante Moore crowd is going to be a lot louder come draft time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but go ahead.
But that's how people are, though. Like if Mendoza goes out there and lays an egg, I'm not gonna be like, oh man, Mendoza's trash. Right. He's like, no, right? He's like, you still have, you know, 2 years at Cal or 3 years at Cal plus this year at Indiana. Like, you still have all the other evaluation that you did. So you don't get wrapped up in this one game. Like, that's what the media is going to do, because these are the two guys that are, you know, competing for the number 1 spot. But like, I don't think it's fair to either guy to base your evaluation on this one game. Like, you know, basing your evaluation on one game is how we ended up with Jamarcus Russell, right? Like, he had the crazy Sugar Bowl versus Notre Dame, and Al Davis was up watching it. And it's like, that's my guy. So like, I'm not going to, you don't throw away your entire evaluation or say Dante Moore is for sure QB1 now because he outplayed Mendoza, or Mendoza is for sure QB1 now because he outplayed Moore, or Mendoza is garbage because he didn't have a good game, or Moore is garbage. Like, you know, that's lazy evaluation. You do all your work. You place proper context on it, and you know, like you follow whatever. Like, you know, scouts have their models they look at, you know, and like, you know, you do your same evaluation. Could this be, you know, if it's close or it's even, how the guy handled the biggest game in their life? Could that be like a feather in their cap or an extra bonus points? Sure, but you don't throw out your evaluation based on this one game.
No, I think I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, and like, I'm not saying that the other quarterback, whoever loses, is going to be considered trash or anything like that. I'm just saying it's very close. Yeah. So, and the last image they'll have is that big championship game, or that big game again. You know, this is a big game heading into the national championship game. And let's say if one of the quarterbacks wins the national championship, that's going to be like, it's not a great draft. It's like literally a 2-man QB draft. Like, then every
that's what
quarterbacks and then everybody else.
I'm kind of curious, like, who's in Dante's ear a little bit, like, as far as an agent, because I understand the age, I understand the experience, but there is a situation where, like, man, you're not falling out of the top 2, like, because we're talking about this guy, and he's not even declared yet. So we're having all these conversations about a quarterback that's not in the class yet. So it's just, man, who's in his ear? Like, I think he should declare. Like, that doesn't mean he has to start right away, but man, you have an you're going to go top 2. So
Right.
why risk it at this point? So I think, but to go back to like the kind of the quarterback conversation is like, regardless if Fernando goes out there and they lose the game, say they lose a close game, like, you can make the argument he's already exceeded expectations that were ever laid out before him anyways. I mean, say what you want. Kurt Cignetti plays a big part of that. Their defense plays a big part of that. Their running attack plays a big part of that. But at the same time, Fernando, the games have been put on his shoulders in some of the biggest moments, and he's made some of the biggest throws, and I can't take that away from him. So, and same with Dante Moore. Like, Dante Moore, like, they got a younger defense, but they've got a really good defense. Like, they've got a solid running game. Like, their front 7 can kind of get after it a little bit, and they really flashed last week. Like, they're coming along as the season goes on. So they're both in situations where they have good rushing attacks, they have good defenses, they manage football games really well. It's just like, my evaluation of these guys they're really not that different, in my opinion.
So let me ask you guys this. This is one thing that's interesting. And see if it may change what you guys think. It may not. It may not. For Fernando Mendoza, he has his degree already. So Fernando Mendoza, he's not taking classes. So Fernando Mendoza is already operating like a professional, where he spends all of his time, like his free time, studying football. So he's like doing all of this work during the week. So he's not like a normal college student. And like, it's a lot of older, like classmen quarterbacks, he's not like the first person to do this. But where Dante Moore, I think he's technically, he'd be in school, he's a junior, but for football purposes, he's a redshirt sophomore. But like, does that change your evaluation? The fact that one guy has classes and just doing normal coursework, while the other guy is just operating, and is getting practice, learning how to operate like an NFL quarterback. Like, he's doing the things that an NFL quarterback would do, like, through the normal week. Like, he's doing the film study, he does the virtual sessions. Like, he's doing the normal stuff that's going to be asked upon a rookie quarterback in the league. Like, so that does that boost your opinion of him, or the fact that he's operating at that level while going against college players, does that diminish it, or what do you guys think?
I mean, in my opinion, like, I probably wouldn't put too much stock into it. I think we all know athletes, like, at the college level, like, your academics, like, kind of get figured out, whether it's like getting paid for, like, it kind of gets worked out. Like, Dante Moore is a game away from the national championship for Oregon. I don't think they're worried about his business test coming up here. You know what I mean? So it's like,
it's Kim Bio 101.
Exactly. I don't think that Oregon's necessarily worried. I think Dante is the type. He sold out just like Fernando sold out, and I'm sure it's not that crazy of a difference. Like, I don't know, man. I just with the two, like, even more, like when we were talking about the ceilings conversation, like, I really don't even think. I don't think one of them is just exponentially better than the other, to the fact that, like, man, Dante's ceiling is just so much greater, just because I think they both have this similar skill set that these organizations are going to have to put talent around them, both of them. And you're going to have the right play caller. You're going to have the right situation. You're going to have to do things the right way, because they're not generational. You know what I mean? So all this evaluation, man, is going to come down to preference. One, you might just prefer Dante over Fernando, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I could see the reasons why. And the people who prefer Fernando, like, right now, I'd probably prefer Fernando. And I like Dante more, especially early on. It's just when I look at the Raiders specifically. And you said year one, like, Fernando might have more success. I think he would. But then it just depends on what the Raiders do as far as roster construction. So it's just, I don't know, man. I think there's going to be a lot of conversation about this, but it's going to be more smaller intangibles than I think bigger differences in their game.
And that's the thing too, because I've talked about this before. It's like, you know, there's a developmental aspect that needs to happen with Dante Moore, because he doesn't have that experience. And I, you know, Severe, I talked to you about like that whole study where they took all this, you know, college starts, and the starts didn't really matter until you start getting down to like that 20 and below range. Then you're like, ooh, like, and you could see like some of the guys, they kind of went through some, you know, early, you know, lumps early in their career. Like, you know, the Sam Darnolds, obviously Mitchell Trubisky didn't work out. With Anthony Richardson, obviously he's going through what he's going through. Mac Jones, he's on his third, fourth team. So it's like, and the Raiders, I'm not sure if they're the team that you trust when it comes to development. You know what I mean? Like, they're not like the team of development. Like, you don't look at them as like, oh man, that's, because we've seen them kind of like mess that up for a lot of different reasons. So that's why I'm like, man, that's why I'm leaning towards the safer guy in Mendoza, because he's kind of like, man, like you could see him just like his floor is higher. You think at the very least he's gonna be solid. Yeah. At the very least, his max. I know. Severe said top 10. I say like top 12.
Nah, I think he can crack the top 10.
Top 12. But it's hard to say because there's a lot of different factors. You know what I mean? He could be top 5. You know what I mean? 10, but I'm just saying from like just looking at him and his talent, and I'm like, maybe top 12-ish. You know what I mean?
I think if you're going,
I don't even look at like Dante Moore, and that's the reality of this draft. I don't even look at Dante Moore as like potential to be a top 5 guy. It's more top 10, top 12, still, like, you know what I mean? I give a little 7. Bit more, but it's not. There's no top. I don't see top 5 right now. Can they be top 5 for sure? But I just don't see it.
Yeah, back to my point, like, it's just going to be what organization put the better pieces around which prospect and who fell in a better situation. So that's how I view them, honestly. Like, I just, Dante to me is just going to take a little bit more time. That's it. And like, if he goes to the Jets, like, I don't see like a top 10 quarterback. Just because I don't trust that organization to put the pieces around him that he needs. So it's like, but if Dante went to the right spot, then I would agree. Like, he has the traits, he has intangibles, he can make the throws, but man, he's got to go to the right situation. And that's the same thing with Fernando, to be honest with you. Like, we're just banking on the fact.
What happens if the Rams traded up to because they got some draft capital. I don't know if they would sell out to go get Dante Moore, but it's a number 2 pick, but. Like, but imagine though.
Top
imagine
5.
if that
top
happened.
5. Top 5, bro. It's top 5 quarterback, bro.
Day, bro.
Super Bowl by year 4.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking at. Him and Puka, Kyron Williams, Blake Corum getting better every year. Oh, yeah, man, it's great.
I'll just say, like, the biggest thing with me is like
same thing with Mendoza though. Same thing with Mendoza. I think Mendoza win the Super Bowl too.
Yeah, both of them with the Rams would be nice. For me, when I think about Moore, I would like him to get put on weight, like clean, healthy weight in that first year. Like, if he were to redshirt his rookie year in the NFL, I would just like to see him put some, just grow his frame out just a little bit, like mature into his body a little bit. Because at the next level, man, like, I've seen his nose, I've seen his hand, I've seen his knee tweaked to this year. Like, and he's behind, honestly, one of the better lines in college. And Fernando is as well. Like, they're both behind good offensive lines. So it's just, I've seen Dante get hit and just banged up a little bit, and it's like, man, at the next level, like,
especially the Raiders.
All these evaluations that we're talking about, it's very Raiders specific. That's where I'm coming away with my opinions, is like our situation, not like an NFL as a whole, but ours.
Yeah, man. But all right, well, no matter what, the Raiders are going to need to build around, you know, whoever they take at number 1, right? Hold up, before we even do that, right? Before we get into that, do you think there's a possibility that the Raiders trade down, right?
To be honest, I don't think the Raiders are in a position to trade down. I think you've earned the number 1 overall pick. You have a roster that is completely depleted of talent. You need a spark in an organization. We haven't taken a quarterback. We've said for years, I mean, on this show, even when me and Pharaoh were doing it back on Undrafted, we've talked about taking a quarterback in the first. We've talked about going and getting our guy. Then Pharaoh and Severe on the 50-50 show talking about getting your guy. You know, they wanted Michael Penix. It was the entire conversation throughout all of these off seasons, and it's like, man, now we get the opportunity to really go get the guy, the one opportunity we've been begging for, and now we want to trade it away and get cute. It's like, stop doing that. Like, you have the chance to get your guy, go get your guy, and trust that you can build around him and make it work. And if they do trade down, I think it's just because they're afraid that they're not going to be able to execute putting a team around him for him to succeed. So they'd want to get cute, go get a guy who doesn't have as much hype, and go the, oh, well, we just need talent route. I don't think you do that, man. I think you go get your guy. If it's Fernando, it's Fernando. If it's Dante, it's Dante, and go build. Like, that's it.
Yeah, nah. Fact. I agree. I don't see the Raiders. Okay. Well, look, I've said this in the past. I'm like, I don't have a problem with the Raiders trading down, but I just can't see it. It's just too much pressure. It's too much pressure on Spytek. It's too much pressure coming from ownership. It's too much pressure coming from, and the Raiders don't have a quarterback. And there's no answer. There's no answer coming in a trade. There's no answer coming in free agency. It's just everything kind of lines up to like, yeah, you're just gonna have to take your guy, because in years past they talked themselves into like, oh, we'll just trade for our guy, or we'll just sign our guy in free agency, keep our options open. If there's a quarterback there, he's there. If not, he's not there. Then we'll take BPA, which they've done already. So I just think that the Raiders are gonna go ahead and take their quarterback. I just don't see them trading down. But Severe, you got something to say on this?
Yeah, I'm gonna say that I don't think this front office has the cojones to trade down. But because realistically, as Ray said, neither one of these guys are like generational, like change the league type players, right? I think Moore has a higher ceiling. Like I said, I think he has like a top 7 ceiling. I think, Mendoza's like he'll be right around the top, like 9 to 12-ish range, like most of his career. That's what I think his cap is. So like, where any one of these guys like just single-handedly carry you to a Super Bowl, I don't see that happening. And I said before, like, if the Raiders don't believe in either one of these guys, it will be organizational malpractice to take them. You have to trade down. I don't give a damn what the pressure is from the outside, what people say you need to do, what you should have done, what you haven't done in the past. If you don't believe these are the guys, you do not take them. You don't Anthony Richardson this thing. You don't Kenny Pickett this thing. You don't do that. You move back and you add pieces, and you find, and hopefully at this point you have a coach, you have an identity through this coach, and you hew to that identity. If it's a offensive coach and he wants to run the ball, you invest in the trenches. You drafted Ashton Genty. Maybe you get some offensive linemen, some interior offensive linemen. You get a deep threat that can stretch the field, that can take some of these players out of the box, and you do that, and you lean on Ashton. If it's a defensive guy, you invest more on your defense, especially on the interior defensive line. At the second level with linebackers, you probably need another corner if you don't bring Eric Stokes back to go opposite Darren Porter. You do that. But if you don't believe in these quarterbacks, you cannot waste the number 1 overall pick on the quarterback that you don't believe in.
Yeah,
and I know it's been a long time since we've had our guy, especially since a guy we drafted ourselves. The last time we did, I think it was 67 or 67. I think it was with Kenny Stabler. I can't forget what year. I think it was like 66 or something like that, like 1966. Like, Pete Carroll was 30 years old when we did it. You feel me? That's how long ago it was. So like, you can't. I know the desire is to have our own franchise quarterback that we drafted, but you can't try to force that situation.
Yeah, to build upon what Beer said was like what we talked about in the beginning of the conversation was unity. And so when I said the Raiders aren't in a position to get cute by not taking a quarterback, this is what's not being cute, to Severe's point. It's one thing to trade back to get assets, but it's another thing to not be unified on a prospect. So to Severe's point, like if Tom Brady is all in on Fernando, but John Spytek says no, and the head coach says no, we're not sold, then don't do it. That's not being cute. That's running an organization properly. Now, if you guys are sold out and you all want Mendoza, but somebody just sends you some stupid lucrative offer and you just take it in the name of we're just going to get picks, that's stupid. You don't do that. Like the Raiders should not be cute. So I just wanted to clean that up. That way it didn't come off of. Yeah.
And the thing is too, this ain't the greatest quarterback draft, but it's not the quarterback draft where they're gonna find a way to love these prospects. They're gonna find a way to love Mendoza. They're gonna find a way to love more. You know what I mean? They're gonna find a way. It's not one of those drafts where it's Blake Bortles. You know what I mean?
No.
Blake Bortles, Johnny Manziel, Teddy Bridgewater. You know what I mean? Remember that draft, 2014 draft? You know, I'm taking all the way back there, but you get what I'm trying to say. Like this is a draft where we're trying to figure out who is the top quarterback. Is it Mendoza? Is it more?
It's not a draft that like I'm scared. You know what I mean? Like I kind of know where these guys are right now, and I'm not scared to take them at number 1 overall, given the class and given the situation that we're in, like personally. So like I don't view them as Bortles, but is this your ideal 101 pick? Probably not. Like, but is it one that like there's no way that this works? Like stay away. I think you can make it work. It's going to take an organization doing the right stuff.
No, facts, 100%, man. Real quick, let me address the super chat. My guy Jay Money Man with super chat says, "How would you feel?" Let me address this. I got you. How would you feel about Derek Carr coming in, helping Mendoza with Clint Kubiak as the new head coach for the Raiders? If it happens, I mean, you know, I wouldn't mind it. You know what I mean? But like, it's gonna be obvious who the guy is. You know, it's Mendoza. But the thing is, though, I don't think we even have to bring. Well, I think we need a veteran in there for sure, but I just don't see the point of bringing Derek Carr. Derek Carr would have made more sense if it was like more of a. If it's more. Yeah, exactly. Or a guy that, you know, like Moore, that you're banking on his potential. He needs some time to develop. A guy like Mendoza, we should have a veteran in the room, but he's kind of, I can see him contributing in year 1.
Yeah, DC would bring a lot of noise to the quarterback position because he's such a controversial topic in Raider Nation. So it's like, if he were to come and you have like Fernando Mendoza, like it would have to be like Derek knows he's the backup. Derek's being brought in to teach and mentor and bring along Mendoza, but I don't think he would do that. Like,
no.
DC is going to come in here. He's going to think he's DC at 30 years old, I feel like, with Clint Kubiak, and he's going to try to start. That's what I think.
Yeah. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Only way it works is if DC is like the bridge guy and he's the starter. That's the only way it will work. And even then, that gets sketchy because he's such a polarizing figure. Like, there are people that are legit, like having legit arguments about like Aiden O'Connell being our franchise quarterback. Like, what do you think is going to happen when we bring Derek Carr back, right? Like there's legitimate fights. Like, oh, we started Aiden O'Connell, we would have won 10 games. Like, no, knock this off. Knock it off. All right? So if we bring Carr back, who's already one of the most polarizing figures in the history of this Raiders franchise, and we sit him down, the first time the rookie throws an incomplete pass, the pitchforks will be out from half of Raider Nation saying Derek Carr needs to get back in the game, and he needs to finish what he started with Rich Bisaccia, and like, you know, like this is what's going to happen, bro. So that would be a horrible situation to put a rookie quarterback in. When you have half the fan base already is against you just because they want to support another guy or they feel another guy should be out there. Like I think that would set up a terrible like locker room dynamic and would affect their development negatively.
I think one thing that's
go
ahead, sir. I think one thing this organization we got to stop doing, like especially starting this season, is we got to stop looking back. Like we got to stop. Like we got to stop digging for chasing ghosts all the time. Like it's done. Like we're going in a new direction. We got to set a new foundation and a new standard. Everything that we've tried in the past is not working, so we got to stop. I get we have history. I get we've had a quarterback that was with us for almost 10 years, and that was the last time we really had like any type of relevancy at that position. But man, like move on. Like we're going in a different direction. You can make it work with another guy without all the noise that DC would bring.
No,
Exactly.
facts.
Yeah.
We got another super chat. My guy Raiders Smoke in the building. He says, get your QB, trade Max, and improve the roster. All right, I guess it's a good little segue. You know what I mean? Max Crosby obviously wasn't too happy on how the season ended. He had to shut down. He was shut down the last 2 games of the season. There's been talk in the past that, Max should get traded. Back then, I was like, nah, we should keep Max. I don't think we should get traded and da-da-da-da. But now, it's just another year. The Raiders lose. The Raiders obviously have tried to reload and try to figure out a win with Max, but it's not working. He's on his like second contract or maybe his first contract with but also added new money to it. And he's 28 years old. He continues to play 100% of the snaps. Like, I get it, man. You're a maniac, but you still can be a maniac by getting off the field and coming in fresh and using your nonstop motor. But for whatever reason, he doesn't want to get off the field, which is, to me, I think is going to hurt him in the long run. And we kind of seen it over the past few years. He's getting dinged up. I think, in my opinion, a trade makes sense. I've talked about it early in the season. I was told, you're a hater. What's wrong with you? Why are you talking about trading the best player? Like, what are you thinking? Like, what are you talking about? Like, Max wants to stay. He doesn't want to leave, yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at it from a perspective, how can the Raiders be a better team? How can they be a better team? And I'm also looking at it from a perspective of like, Max, he's 28 years old. He's on his 5th coach, about to go on to his 6th coach if he were to stay. And you're going to ask him to like put on a whole, put on a charade and put on a smile. And like at some point he's going to be tired of it. And you could see the frustration of him not playing the last 2 games because obviously they're trying to, they're trying to give him rest, but we all know they're going for that number 1 pick. Like, it is what it is, but he wasn't happy about it. So just to finish it all up, Max and the Raiders are not on the same timeline. They're just not. At the end of the day, you got to ask yourself this question: will Max still be in his prime by the time the Raiders are going to be good? If the answer is no, then what are you doing? This is the best time where you could trade him before and capitalize on his value. I mean, Ray, do you think that Max Crosby should be a guy that should be traded this offseason, or no, he's a Raider for life and that's what it's going to be?
I think this is an and both conversation, to be honest. Like, there's a world like you don't have to trade Max. Like, you don't have to. Now, to go back to what you said, like, man, would you trade out of 101 and trade down for picks? I think if I was going to trade anything, it probably would be Max. I would take my quarterback and then I would get assets from Max Crosby. Do you have to trade Max? No, I don't think you have to. If you're trying to build this thing for the long run, you can make the argument, sure, trade him away and move him on to a situation where he could win, and you rebuild your roster and use those assets to build around the quarterback that you just took. That I don't think that there's really necessarily a wrong answer in this, because if the Raiders do their due diligence, they hit on their head coach, They hit on their offensive play caller. Now Max Crosby does fit in with the timeline. We've seen teams turn it around quickly. We've seen teams hit on the head coach, hit on the play caller, land the quarterback, and the dynamic of their franchise kind of shifts overnight. And now a player like Max Crosby can be beneficial. The reason why Max Crosby is an elite edge rusher, yet the Raiders have 3 wins this year, 4 wins last year, is because the quarterback position, the play caller position, the team as a whole isn't up to standard. So Max Crosby, as skilled and as talented as he is, his skill set gets limited when the Raiders get down by 20 points in these games because the pass rush becomes ineffective. So if the Raiders do a good job of building this team this year, lands a head coach, lands a play caller, and all that stuff works out, then the Raiders don't have to trade Max, and it could actually benefit this football team and attribute to winning games. But again, back to the unity situation. If the Raiders look at this team and say, hey, we're way far off, Max, we love you. You exemplify what it means to be a Raider, but we just think right now it's the best direction to put you on a winning team and us to get assets and work with Max with that, then you can do that as well. I don't think it's an either or. I think both situations can work. That's just my opinion.
Severe, what's your take on it, man?
Man, you already know how I feel about this, man. Like,
You'll never
get more value out of Max than you will right now. You know,
I
people are
agree with
people are, you should wait a year and see what you're able to do, and if it doesn't, nah, bro. The reason why his value is so high right now is because, you know, compared to him as a player, he's on a very affordable deal, right? Like, compared to other guys, his caliber, his deal is magnificent. And you have 2 years of control. And so that's what makes him so valuable to other teams, is those 2 full years of control, especially if you feel you have an open window in those 2 years. But that's what also makes him a prime trade candidate for the Raiders. First of all, he's coming off another surgery. How many surgeries has he had in his career? Like 8? We talk about durability. That's what you're looking at. It's like his 8th surgery. And a lot of them's been on his lower body. Like, you know, like, you ain't getting any younger, and the NFL's a physical game. All these knee injuries, people gonna be chipping you at the legs all the time. So that's gonna affect you. And then he's 28. He'll be 29 by the time the season starts. At the end of his contract, he'll be 31 years old. After this season, we have to make a serious decision whether or not we're going to extend him or let him play out his last year and see what happens there, right? Because he's going to be going into the lame duck year, where if you don't either have a contract ready for him to sign, then you start to have to do the franchise tag game potentially if you weren't able to get an extension. You don't want to put yourself in that position where he has no contract extension and he's going to the last year of his deal, because that puts you in a very precarious situation as a franchise. So and then you have to make a decision. Well, damn, he's going to be 31 at the end of this year. How many more years do we give him? Especially if he continues to get injured. So it's like, man, like, what are we really doing here? Max Crosby is a great player. Second best player on his team to AJ Cole. Second best player in his team to AJ Cole. AJ Cole's top. I've been saying that for months. AJ Cole, the best player on his team. But how many times have we had a top 10 defense with Max Crosby? No, like, how many times have we had a top 10 defense recently, really? So it's not all Max, but even with Max, we're not, we haven't been able to get over the hump. People will talk, oh, the Browns won't trade Myles Garrett, or the Cowboys won't trade Micah Parsons. Those teams have had good defenses. They've had defenses finishing in the top. We have yet to do that. So we have one guy playing well who, oftentimes puts other players in bad positions and then yells at those players for not cleaning up his mistakes. But I digress. But so what are we really doing? Like, we're not getting better as a unit. And we're looking now where we're going to have to draft a young quarterback, and then we're going to have to invest on the offensive side of the ball. So then when are we really going to put assets toward the defense? It's like, it's like at that point, you have to do everything you can if you draft the quarterback number 1 overall to support that quarterback. And we have damn near as many holes on offense as we do on defense. So we're not going to really be putting a lot of resources and assets toward the defense. So are we counting on a head coach to do that? Well, damn, if you draft the quarterback number 1 overall, you probably want to go to get an offensive head coach. So then we're counting on just our defensive coordinator to fix all the holes that we have on defense with the team that just signed a plethora of older veterans to 1-year deals because we had a 74-year-old coach that thought somehow we can win 10 games because he's won 10 games in the past. Like, so we put ourselves in a bad situation, and know what we need to do? Hit the reset button. That's the only way out of this. The only way out of this is through. So, and we have to be through with some of these other players. We keep like people have these emotional attachments to players. That has to stop. It has to stop, man. It's a cold world, man. I'm sorry. I love Max. He's my favorite player on the team. But bro, at the end of the day, the best thing for the Raiders, and possibly the best thing for Max, is for him to find a home somewhere else.
I just gotta say this real quick, man. We can't be hating on Pete Carroll because he did give us, the number one. He gave us the number one pick. You know what I mean? So
one thing he did right.
Yeah, let's show him a little love, man. He did what he did. He lost the right way. You know what I mean? He finished the job. He got the job done at the end. I guess. Yeah. However way you want to call it. But what were you about to say, Severe? I mean, Ray.
I was gonna agree on that tail end of what Severe was saying about the fan base of like Max is my favorite player on the Raiders, but at the end of the day, to go back again to our unity conversation, if it was Pharaoh, Ray, Severe running the Raiders, we would come down to the decision ultimately like we should move on from Max. Because why? That would be that's a smart football decision to do given where this football team's at. So the dynamic is between fans of the Raiders and then people who can look at the team where we stand. And like Severe said, this is the time to hit the reset button. Like, we're on our back. You know what I mean? So we got to rebuild.
Yeah, and it's funny too. Like a lot of the fan bases, they want to trade players when it's obvious that you need to trade a player. But at the end of the day, we're trying to trade a player when there's still value, and you can maximize that and get a draft haul, whatever value back from another team. And you got to do that before there's signs of him kind of. And did y'all see the pictures of the surgery of his? I was like, damn, he got his whole leg. It's like, what kind of surgery did you get?
Man, especially if you can trade Max and get like a cornerstone piece and capital, like you got to seriously consider it. Whether that's a wide receiver 1 coming up on like an expiring deal.
Exactly.
You got to.
And look. If the number 1 pick is going to be a quarterback, everything shifts now to we need to build around this guy.
Bro, and that's what I messaged you. I like, regardless of us taking Genty 6 overall last season, if we take a quarterback, I already know that'll be a conversation. Anyways, let's not even get into that right now. We can't get into that, but let me finish this thought. If you take a quarterback 101 and you're hiring a new head coach, that becomes now priority. Regardless of what happened last draft, regardless of you taking a running back at 6, if you take a quarterback 101, he becomes the interest of the organization. He can't fail. Like, I know you took a running back 6. A quarterback is the most important position on the football team. You've got to make it work. So that's just kind of where I stand with it. You got to do whatever you can to make it work.
Real quick, let me address the super chat. My guy LS, man, appreciate the super chat. He says the time to trade Max is now. You'll never get more for him than you will right now. He'll be 31 by the time we're ready. His body's already starting to let him down, and with the way that he plays, pretty much what we're talking about with Max. And that's the thing. Like, and sometimes people don't want to face reality or the truth. Like they obviously Max is the face of the Raiders. It's nothing personal. Max is a great player. He's gonna go on and do great things probably with another team. It's fine. Like sometimes it happens. If you've been a fan long enough of the team, players come and they go. You know what I mean? Derek Carr was a quarterback for the Raiders for a decade, and then he wasn't. You know what I mean? Charles Woodson, who's a fan favorite. He was with the Raiders for years. Then he left, did his thing, won a Super Bowl, Defensive Player of the Year. Then he came back. You know what I mean? It is what it is. It's a business at the end of the day. And the way we're looking at it, we're not even looking at it from the business aspect. We're looking at it like, how can the Raiders get back to prominence? How can they add talent to this roster? Because there's a talent deficiency. We could talk about coaching. That's one aspect of it. But then there are other aspects, if we're being honest, it don't matter. If a coach comes in here, he can't turn players that are not good into, generational talent, great talent. He probably can raise the floor a little bit, but there still needs to be talent added to this team. And I think that trading Max will help get like premium picks, which then will give Spy Tech an opportunity to add talented players on cheap contracts. And you, like Severe alluded to, he's talked about like how many, bro, the defense, literally the majority of defense is like on 1-year deals. So how many players, there's going to be literally, I don't even know how many different starters next year. It's probably the whole entire defense. I mean, think of the D line. I'm thinking linebacker. I mean, who's the starting linebacker next year?
He's not on the roster.
With Pete Carroll gone, like everybody could be gone outside of like guys that are still under contract. Maybe I think Jeremy Chin signed a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
About it.
Even I think that we should bring back Stokes
if we can.
But outside of that, I mean,
does he fit the system now?
Huh?
It all depends on the system.
Yeah. Who's going? What system are we going to run the cover 3? If we run the cover 3, we may not. I mean, if we run the cover 3, obviously Stokes and Darren Porter fit. But if we go to like the quarters stuff that Brian Flores does or Vic Fangio, like, are those guys really fits for those systems? I don't really think so. So it's like,
and that's been the problem with coaching.
Maybe a Salah makes sense, or a Raheem Morris. You know what I mean?
But that's been the problem with
like a Tampa too.
They've been trying to get these coaches, and they've missed on them. And now you have a hodgepodge of regimes mixed together, and there's no identity. You got a bunch of players that fit specific systems, and then you fire a coach and bring in a new one who runs a completely opposite system. Well, every investment that you just put into that position is now obsolete. So it's just that's the game. The Raiders keep chasing tail at this point. So we'll see.
Yeah. We got another super chat. Black Sales Sports Talk, man. Appreciate you coming through. He says, I keep hearing this QB class ain't it because it's compared to the 27 draft. But looking at the last 4 years, besides the 24 class, and that's to, I guess, to Ray's point where he's just don't overthink it, don't get cute, get your guy. You know what I mean? There's a little bit of like grass is always greener sometimes when it comes to these drafts. I mean, outside of like that 24 class where everybody was like, oh, this is probably the greatest QB class. Everybody was just talking about how many, and it kind of technically, 6 quarterbacks taken in the top 10 picks or 12 picks. Yeah. It kind of lived up to the hype in that way. I don't know if all quarterbacks lived up to the hype, but it lived to the hype where, go ahead.
There's a world where it can be better than this draft class, but we hear it every year that next year's class is better. There's also
we heard it last year. Year about this.
There's a very realistic world where Arch Manning doesn't take a step forward, and he looks similar to what he is. There's a chance that Lenore Sellers, who didn't transfer, doesn't take that big of a step forward that everybody projects him to take. There's a world where you go down the list. Let's say who else is a top candidate?
Your boy Sorsby.
I mean, there's a chance where maybe he looks identical and maybe he is a second-round pick. So there's a world where these guys might not progress. You know what I mean? They might degress, and then there's candidates that we're not talking about, whether it's Josh Hoover from TCU going to Indiana. Maybe he has the same impact that Fernando Mendoza had.
I think that might be. I think he's going to have a great year.
But to my point,
I'm just saying.
That concerns me. Look, the fact that you think he's about to have a great year, not knowing anything about him at all, you're like, yo, he about to have a good ass year. What does that tell you? What does that tell you?
I just think that he's one of those diamond in the roughs, like pocket passers, and like, hey, Cignetti is a good coach, and he's gonna find a way to get some value out of it. But yeah, I get you're saying, Severe. If you had to say If you had to say something,
nobody's transferring to Oregon like, man, he about to have a good ass year. Like, no, that's not the narrative.
But we're not talking about Curtis Rourke.
No, I would say that if he had Will Stein. I would say that if he had Will Stein.
Will Stein, he's going to Kentucky though, right?
He's going to Kentucky though. But that's my point. Like, everybody's like, oh, but Cignetti, like, that's why we keep talking about the quarterback. But bro, Will Stein has put back-to-back quarterbacks in the National Football League. He is a producer and a developer of quarterbacks as well. So it's not like Dante Moore is with some caller who trash.
But look, those guys were highly ranked. No, nobody was checking for Curtis Rourke at Ohio. Nobody was checking for Fernando Mendoza at Cal. Dante Moore was a 5-star recruit. He was a second-ranked quarterback in his class. He might have been like he was a top 5 recruit nationally. So it's not like he's taking some guy that never done it before and all of a sudden he's good. Same thing. Bo Nix was highly recruited. Dylan Gabriel was highly sought after, not only after he left UCF, but after he left Oklahoma too. Like, the people thought highly of him both of those spots. So it's not like he took some guy that was, some like afterthought and now he's like a Heisman candidate or something like that. Like, Curtis Rourke was an afterthought. He was a Heisman finalist. Indiana was an afterthought. They were in the college football playoffs last year. Mendoza was the 25th ranked guy in the transfer portal, and now he's the Heisman Trophy winner. So it's different. We can't even. It's not a like good comparison. It's not a good comparison at all.
But that's why Curtis Rourke went in the 7th round. Like what you're saying.
But that's why his lack of mobility too. So that's that. But that's what I'm saying. Cignetti turned him into a Heisman finalist.
But I would say, like, Will Stein is able to produce. I mean, what did Dylan Gabriel go? 3rd round? He went to the 3rd round. Bo Nix had,
he got overdrafted though.
3. Yeah, he did. And I agree with that. But my point is that he's producing quarterbacks at the NFL level. His system does do that. I mean, like I said, like, every year, those quarterbacks, wherever they come from, they're plus 70% completion percentage. They play arguably the best ball of their career. Bo Nix played the best ball of his career, Will Stein. Dylan Gabriel had success at Oklahoma. It was Oklahoma, right? Had success at Oklahoma.
And UCF.
Yeah. And UCF. I would say he had more poise and control of that Oregon offense. And then now you look at Dante Moore. You look at what Dante Moore did at UCLA. Now, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He was a freshman. He was young.
17 years old, 17 going to 18.
Exactly. But my point is, in this system, in this offense, clearly Will Stein he has a thing of developing quarterbacks and building around them to make them successful. So it's not just like a Cignetti is like, oh, you plug anybody into Cignetti and it's just going to work. I think there's give and take to that as well. I think that's the same thing with Will Stein. You know what I mean? So
yeah. No, I said that before. I don't think Mendoza is like a Cignetti creation. Like, I think he's a good prospect because he's a good prospect. But I'm saying a lot of what you're saying, a lot of it has to do with what Cignetti's been able to do with it. He threw 19 touchdowns last year and 7 picks. He threw 36 this year. It's like, that don't happen, bro. Like, that don't happen overnight. You feel me? Like, that's the coaching staff, that's supporting cast, that's all of that stuff. So like he's obviously made an impact, and it's not like it's a one-time thing where it's like, okay, he just caught lightning in a bottle, and he only did it with Mendoza. He did it with Curtis Rourke too, and it's not like we didn't have a large enough sample size to know what Mendoza was as a player. He had 3 years of like legitimate starting time at Cal, like 3 years. It's not like he was a baby. It was the year last year.
So this
he was like only a year older.
So this was his 4th year?
I'll say this though, what you're saying goes to my point about the ceiling. Cignetti is an exceptional talent evaluator. And what has he done? He's built a program. He's built talent around the quarterback position. And what he was at Cal, as opposed to what he is at Indiana, is because that program has put talent in a situation around Mendoza to thrive.
And
that
Mendoza
is my point.
And Mendoza
took advantage.
So it's on the Mendoza too. It's like not like I don't want to say like it's all just Cignetti.
It's and both, which is going to be the same exact thing when it goes to when it goes to the next level. It's going to be the same conversation. Are the Raiders able to put a system around Mendoza to help excel to a ceiling? Because man, at Cal, like Mendoza flashed, but I would agree with you. It isn't what he put out on Indiana. So what does that say about these evaluations about ceilings? it depends on where they go and what you do and put around them. So that's going to be the type of conversation about this quarterback class, to be honest.
No, facts, 100%. So people were talking about Shambliss, Ole Miss, and Miami played recently. What do you think of Shambliss out of Ole Miss? Kind of came out of nowhere this year. He didn't go into the season as a starter, came in, and then he never look back. Do you think he might be the third quarterback taken? Is he a possibility? I mean, Raiders are picking number 1, so obviously we kind of know it's between like more. But if in a crazy scenario, Raiders trade down, do you like Shambliss as a quarterback prospect?
No, I don't. Not as NFL. He's going to be the starter for the Raiders, but I think he's a really good college quarterback. I think he's got a future if he keeps working and developing. But I don't see Shambliss as somebody who's going to come in and like change our organization. I think he does things well. I think he can create well, but to say he's going to do that at the NFL level, like that's
kind of remind me of Russell Wilson.
It's his size too. It isn't ideal. Like, he is shorter in nature. He isn't as, like, again, it kind of goes back to the durability aspect. Like, he stayed healthy. I'm not saying he's like beat up all the time, but I'm just saying, like, his size, his nature, his play style is a little bit like, I'm gonna create with my legs and
backyard football.
Exactly. That's not gonna progress in the NFL.
Yeah.
Not right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like Shambliss. I obviously he's not a guy you draft in the first round.
No, I'm not saying the first round, but like I'm just saying the possibility where they trade down. Is a Shambliss a guy that you consider drafting?
Your third round, late second, third round, you start serious. But in this class, I mean, if he comes out, he might get pushed up because who else is there? It's like, is Mateer coming out? Is Mendoza?
Who's the third QB?
Like, nobody knows. Like, you would think it was Ty Simpson, but he fell apart.
Too. Ty Simpson
fell apart. Yeah, he fell apart, and he's older. He couldn't beat out Jalen Miro, so people are looking at that like, bro, you couldn't beat out Jalen Miro, who was drafted in the third round, and you completely fell apart this year. So I mean, down towards the end of the year. So like Trinidad. I mean, like, but I don't want to count Trinidad out, right? He's a guy that got no offers at all. He went to Division II, won 2 national championships in Division II as a quarterback. Then first, obviously, Jackson Dart and Ole Miss. I mean, Ole Miss had Jackson Dart last year. They lose Jackson Dart. Trinidad isn't even in the starter to begin the year. The other guy struggled. Trinidad comes in and he's balling, and he's doing it. He's coming from Division II football to SEC football, like the toughest, of all college football. In some people's eyes, some people disagree and say it's the Big Ten now, based on who's won the championship recently. But he's playing college football at the highest level, and he's successful. And you look at this game, he came this close to coming to the national to going to the national championship game after losing their head coach. All of the coaching staff is gone. Lane Kiffin only allowed Charlie Weiss Jr. and I forget the defensive coordinator. Those are only 2 coaches he allowed to stay at Ole Miss, and everybody else went to LSU. So they're not doing this. He's not doing this under ideal circumstances. Not like he has some like crazy amount of weapons on that side of the ball either. He's balling, and does he get credit for that? He has to get some credit for that. But like you said, his game isn't necessarily transferable. He's a smallish guy. But one thing I will say is that, like, my biggest issue with Dylan Gabriel last year is that if you're going to be small, you have to have some kind of elite traits, right? You have to have a big arm. You have to have elite athleticism. Like, your playmaking ability has to be like something. Like, you see flashes of that with Shambliss. Like, I didn't see any flashes of that with Dylan Gabriel at all. Like, he was, to my opinion, and I said it last year, he was completely like a system guy. And I didn't think he succeeded in the NFL. Yeah, I didn't think he was fast. He was small. Didn't have a big arm. Like, nothing. Like, Shambliss, you see flashes there. And like,
see, that's where the eye test comes in, though.
Yeah.
That's where eye test comes in. Like, people could see quarterbacks playing in the system. Like, oh, look at the numbers they're putting up, but then if you look at him, like, man, do you see the arm strength? Do you see the traits? Do you
Timmy
see...
Chang, bro. Timmy Chang was putting up crazy numbers. Colt Brennan was putting up stupid numbers. What's the? I mean, Cliff Kingsbury put up crazy numbers when he was a quarterback. Like, you're in the right system, bro. You can do it.
But we're in an era, bro, where like a lot of these eyes that you're talking about, people need glasses. Like, because a lot of people just think that an athlete at the quarterback position is going to translate into a starting quarterback in the National Football League. And I've talked to Pharaoh personally on the phone, where I feel like the NFL's quarterback position has taken a step back as far as QB development, because over the last 10 to 12 years, we've invested heavily into athletes instead of quarterbacks. And the league has now had 10 plus years now of just inheriting athletes at the position. And now look at what's happening from the top down. You're having development problems as pure pocket passers, as processors at the line of scrimmage, as people who can operate in a structure, in a pocket, and win with their mind and their arm talent. And instead, our league has built the quarterback position around athletic ability. And I feel like it's kind of a shame of where the development is at the NFL level.
Yeah, facts. And that's and that's the thing too. Like, the NFL doesn't want to develop the quarterback position. They want guys to come right away, and it's just the way it's been. It's like people talk, oh man, these quarterbacks are coming in and they're making plays right away and da da da. But in reality, like, what people are not seeing is they're not seeing that position develop like it should. And I don't know. It's just that's what has me leaning towards Mendoza, because I'm like, you can't play around, man. You can't if you believe in Mendoza, and it's close between him and Moore might have the edge as far as potential, whatever you want to call that. And you feel like it's close. I think Mendoza should be the guy, just because of all the things that you mentioned. And to be honest with you, all these guys, they're all, what are they worried about? They're worried about their job security. They're worried about they're worried about more about their job security more than developing the quarterback position. They're like, it's all, and that's a whole different conversation. But I want to get it. Go ahead.
But real quick, that's why I feel the opposite though, because what have we been hearing from the guy that's essentially our president of football operations for years? You know, especially the last year, right? He's been getting on every podcast that would put a mic in front of him and saying that. Thank you. You know, for about to make my point. All Tom Brady has been talking about is how the league isn't developing quarterbacks anymore. How they're not doing enough to invest in the quarterback development. Like, this is coming from the guy that is the primary decision maker. 50% of the primary decision makers on this team says that the quarterback position isn't being developed properly. So now you know that they will make vast investments into the development of a quarterback. And if you do that with both of these guys, I think at the end of it, you get more output from Dante Moore than you do from Mendoza. Now, I've seen the beginning stages. I think Mendoza, I've already said, I think he's more ready right now, just from a physical standpoint, from the amount of starts he's had, experience, all that stuff. But 5 years from now, if you're looking at, and that's what these guys should be looking at, Spytek should be looking at, Tom Brady should be looking at, not what you can do for me right now, because we're not winning right now. When we can win, maybe 3 or 4 years, who's going to be the better player? In my opinion, that's Dante Moore. And I think a big reason why that is because a big problem with the quarterback position in the league is that, I think there have been too many coaches that want control, and they want guys to run their system and not deviate from what they do. So they take a much more hands-on approach. Like, you rarely see guys come to the line of scrimmage anymore, and like you don't see the Peyton Mannings anymore, where they're coming to the line of scrimmage and they're directing traffic, because a lot of these coaches are egomaniacs, and they want things done a specific way, and they want things done their way. So they aren't willing to give up that control.
It's funny. I think this might have been a notable, quotable. If not, it was the linebacker from the Colts. I'm trying to remember his name, but anyways, he said something to the effect that
Zaire?
Yeah, it might have been Zaire Franklin. It might have been him, and he was saying in today's NFL, and he was talking to, I think he was on, Caleb Downs and Josh Downs podcast, right? And he was talking about like, the differences between the NFL and the quarterbacks and he said in the NFL, it's not about the quarterbacks anymore. It's about the offensive coordinators, and you got to it's playing mind games with them. But it's not playing. Back in the day, it was about playing. It was about like going against Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and playing the mental chess games. Now it's not. It's not about that. Now it's like whoever the OC that you're going against that week, you got to play mind games with him. You got to figure out what he's trying to do out there. It's not really what the quarterback is doing out there, which kind of to this, speaking to this whole conversation here, is like the quarterback position isn't where it once was.
Well, I want to ask Severe this, because he said that in 5 years he feels like Dante Moore is going to be the better quarterback. But do you feel that way if I tell you, what if Dante Moore isn't in a good situation? What if Dante Moore doesn't have pieces around him? Then in 5 years, are you still saying that Dante Moore can be a better quarterback than Fernando Mendoza? Because we just had the conversation about none of these guys are going to win it alone. So to me, I feel like that would be a big projection, because a lot depends on Dante Moore being a better quarterback in 5 years. 1, is he healthy? 2, which I'm sure he could be. Let's just say he is. 2, did he go to a right situation where they build around him? Because if Fernando goes to a situation where they built it for him better, I feel like he's going to be a better quarterback than Dante Moore. So that's where it's like, what about Dante's Moore game to you says that in 5 years he's going to be a better player than Fernando Mendoza?
So to answer your question, I'm speaking strictly from the standpoint of if they're both drafted to the exact same situation. So if I project Dante Moore coming here 5 years out, if I project Fernando Mendoza coming here 5 years out, I'm not comparing them like, oh, if one guy gets drafted here, one guy gets drafted there, because I heard that conversation with Bryce Young and CJ Stroud when I told people back then CJ Stroud would be the better quarterback. Like I told him immediately, but I told him by year 3 he'd be a top 10 quarterback, and that's about where he is at right now. So, and I think what's better about Dante Moore, I think he has better overall as a passer. I think his mechanics are cleaner. I like his release better. I think he has better ball placement. I think he sees the field better than Fernando Mendoza, to be honest with you. And I could point to several examples where, but all quarterbacks do it at some point where they lock onto a guy. But I see that a lot more with Fernando Mendoza than I do with Dante Moore. Fernando Mendoza has a history of putting the ball in harm's way. Like, look at his turnover-worthy plays in Cal. Like, he was a lot. And obviously he gets to a better situation, better coaching. He's cleaned it up. So do you project him doing that in the NFL? That's quite possibly, but you can't ignore the history there. So there is a history there. So I just think all those factors, and Dante Moore, I don't think Dante Moore is in his grown man body yet. I think that what you see from Dante Moore, from an arm strength standpoint, from athleticism standpoint, from all of that stuff, I think he's not a Jaden Daniels. I've had this conversation before. I had Jaden Daniels as my QB1 before damn near anybody in Raider Nation was even talking about Jaden Daniels. But I knew back then, Jaden Daniels' frame, he wasn't going to get much bigger, because you can see how he's built and tell he's not going to get much bigger. I don't think Dante Moore has that same frame. I think Dante Moore is just young. He hasn't put on grown man weight yet. It's like a Kobe coming in from high school. Like, you can tell that Kobe can get bigger. He was slight of frame then, but you can project him out once he gets in an NFL meal program and gets an NFL weight program. I think he's going to put on weight, and I think the same is true with Dante Moore. We look at Lamar put on weight, and then Lamar dropped a lot of weight because he didn't like how that weight made him feel, but he had the frame to do it. I think Dante Moore has the frame to do it.
Well, I think Fernando has the frame right now, and I think
Fernando has a frame already. Fernando is Fernando is in a good spot in terms of his frame right now. That's why I say year 1 he's going to be better, because he has I think he has his grown man strength. He has this grown man frame already. Dante's going to get that, and he's operating damn near identically without it right now.
I feel like we talk about Fernando though as if like there's not much room for improvement. And that's what I don't understand, because Dante Moore,
he's closer to a ceiling. That's the thing. I think he's closer to a ceiling than Dante Moore is. Like, just looking at them physically. Who's more developed? Who's closer to what they are going to be when
But
they
to my
retire
point-
physically right now?
But to my point is, regardless of who's closer, like that's just Mendoza's frame. He's 6'5", 225. My point is he's still 22. So if Dante Moore's program was to be 6'5", 235, he can be that. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, we're talking about Dante Moore having to grow into a frame as opposed to a quarterback who already has a frame. And I'm just saying, like, the ceiling, like, it goes back to the ceiling thing again, man. It's like these two guys don't separate each other enough in order to. It's going to be about who has the better position, who has the better pieces around them. For me, like, I don't see, like, when I watch Dante Moore, and this is just me being fair, I don't see a guy who is just leagues and bounds, like, has this upside, like, that is just so above and beyond Fernando, because I think Fernando can still develop, process, and learn the game from an IQ perspective, a recognition perspective, a distributing perspective, that might elevate his game even above the ability of Dante Moore. I mean, we don't know. These are all projections. So it's just like, to say for a for sure thing, like, you might be right. Dante Moore might eventually be that guy. But man, it's to me at this point, it's all projection.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what we're doing. This is what this exercise is projection. Like, this is what we're doing is right now. It's projecting. Like, we don't know who's going to be the better. So, but I'm saying, put it like this. 6 months ago, Dante Moore was 19 years old, bro. He's 19 years old 6 months ago. He's not physically where he's going to be at in 2 years. In 2 years, he'll be Mendoza's age. Do you think Dante Moore is going to look the same in 2 years as he does now? Do you think physically he's going to be as strong as he is now in 2 years? Do you think he's going to be running as fast in 2 years as he? No, but he's going to. He's just turned 20 in May. Turned 20.
From the year,
basically.
So from the year of the Cal development to the Indiana development, and we've seen the jumps in Fernando's game. In 2 years, the same time span that you just gave for Dante Moore to catch up to Mendoza. In those next 2 years of Fernando Mendoza playing at the NFL level, NFL systems, in the film room, and NFL programs, he can take his football ability, his ability to play the quarterback position, and that can accelerate as well. So if Fernando Mendoza accelerates at that rate, at the same rate as Dante Moore, I don't see the separation. That's my argument.
You already said they're basically even, right? You said they're basically even. You have a slight edge to Mendoza. Mendoza is basically even with a teenager who has half the starts. And they're basically even. So do you not think that once Dante Moore gets his grown man physicality and strength and gets that same level of coaching, that he's not going to go, like, that's what I'm not understanding. You're saying that even now, and Mendoza's operating at a physical advantage already. So you saying, and he has had an experience advantage and a coaching advantage. So you think that
putting on 10 pounds isn't going to give Dante Moore the physical advantage over Mendoza. He's not going to have that. He's not ever going to have that physical advantage over him.
What? Just, bro, he's not. He was a teenager 6 months ago, bro. He was a teenager 6 months ago.
I don't care about the age.
I do, bro. I do. I'm a guy that's seen kids develop. The age makes a difference. The age makes a huge difference.
Dante at 22 years old isn't going to be 6'5", 235.
He's going to be 6'5", but he'll be 6'2", 220. That's a lot. That's a big difference than 6'2", 205. He can potentially get to 6'3" at that time. So, like, there's a big difference.
Who would still have the advantage though?
I think at that point you don't know. He's not at his grown man strength. If you're talking about who's going to be taller, Fernando Mendoza he's going to always be taller, but that doesn't necessarily mean he has the physical advantage in terms of his strength. Like, bro, are you saying that, like, you don't think Dante Moore is going to get stronger?
No, I know he's going to get stronger, but I know Fernando's
it's going to be exponentially different because right now he's operating. He was 19 6 months ago, bro. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, he was 19 years old 6 months ago. They're not the same in the same place in their life right now. Like, that's what you have to take into advantage.
The same ability that Moore has to grow physically, what you're talking about, growing into his grown man body, Mendoza has the same opportunity, and he already has the intangibles of being taller.
Come on,
like,
bro.
It's not like Dante
Right,
Moore
right,
has.
right. Are we doing this? Like, he's 22, bro. You're comparing a 22-year-old to a guy that was just
24.
19.
You're talking about when he's 2 years old, he was still pooping his diaper. We're talking about 2 years.
Bro, that's the 2 years from 19 to from 20 to 22. That's big, bro. That's massive. Come on, dog. You're not seriously doing this, man.
Is his physicality?
No, come on, bro. Right. Are you saying that the 2 years between 20 and 22 isn't big?
I am saying Dante Moore at 22 at 6'2", 220 pounds is still not going to be Mendoza at 6'5", 235. I don't care that he put on 15, 20 pounds in 2 years.
But that's my point is that Fernando Mendoza is operating at a great physical advantage right now. Dante Moore may never close the gap, but right now the gap is massive. He's going to close it. Maybe not completely, but it's going to be a massive difference between what he is now and what he's at 22. But Mendoza is much closer to his ceiling than Dante Moore is. It's not debatable in terms of physicality. Dante Moore is going to get much more physically, stout. He's going to get stronger. He's going to get faster. I think his arm is going to improve much more. Fernando Mendoza may make improvements, but he's not going to make the same level of improvements as Dante Moore in those areas.
Okay. Let's take physical development out of it. Can Fernando Mendoza still develop at a higher rate than Dante Moore at the next level? Is there a chance of that?
Yeah, it's a possibility. Just processing and all that stuff. Yeah. I mean, I think I said it before. Like Fernando Mendoza, he's genius level intellect. Like I think he's a genius. You hear him speak post game. His recall is like elite. Like you hear very few people be able to talk about points in the game with the level of detail that Fernando Mendoza is. So I think his capacity to learn is amazing. But I think Fernando Mendoza's IQ is next level as well. If you hear people talk about his football IQ and his work ethic and his film study and all that stuff, as a guy that was 19 going on 20 and is 20 right now, like with the way they speak about him, like he's some kind of savant as well. So I don't think it's that. I think Mendoza is operating at a higher level, but I don't think it's that big of a gap.
Well, look, hey man, we can go back and forth with this quarterback debate, man, because I already knew what time it was when Ray was coming through. I'm like, all right, he's gonna talk about Mendoza. I know Severe is a big Moore guy, but at the end of the day, it's really close, and the Raiders are gonna have to figure that out. They're gonna have an entire offseason figured out, and especially tomorrow, it's gonna be a big test for both quarterbacks. Indiana versus Oregon. All Raider fans should be. If you ain't doing nothing, man, go ahead and watch that game. Give you a little sneak preview what the quarterbacks can do. That being said, before we get out of here, man, the Raiders got a whole offseason ahead, right? We obviously feel like it's with that number one pick, the Raiders are going to get a quarterback. What do you think they have to do ahead, or what do you think they have to do in order to surround that incoming rookie quarterback? Like, what do they have to do this offseason? What should be a priority?
Me or Severe?
Yeah, go ahead, Ray. Go lead the way.
I mean, honestly, like it's gonna be a mix of everything. I mean, honestly, like you got to revamp this defense. Like first and foremost, you got to give a rookie quarterback a defense to give him an opportunity. We've got to go and invest significant funds into the offensive line. I think that's first and foremost what you need to do. That can't be what it was this year. I mean, the fact that players are having meetings and coming together, of having to scheme up blocking schemes, and it's just disgusting. So I think, number one, offensively, go invest and pay as much money as possible into the best offensive line candidate. I think you then go throw talent, whether that's guard, tackle, center, go throw money at that offensive line and build the defense out. So, I mean, you got to do a lot, and the reality is the Raiders aren't going to solve this all in a year. But you can get the ball rolling in the right direction year one. So the Raiders aren't going to solve this in a year. That's just not the reality of the situation. But they do need to take significant steps in the right direction. So, and I think that starts with the O-line.
No, facts, man. Sphere, what you got?
Offensive line. I mean, it's built in the trenches. You have to first of all, protect your rookie quarterback, whether that be Mendoza or well, ideally you sit more for a year if you can. Ideally, you sit Mendoza for a year if you can too.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, and I
if you
agree.
can. Yeah, but like especially if you draft more, I think he needs to sit for a year. But you have to build in the trenches, because not only does that help your quarterback, but you have to get some kind of return on investment from Genty. Like, you have to get some return on investment, because you didn't get nearly what you thought you were going to get from him this year. And the best way to do that is to try to put better players in front of him, put a better scheme in front of him as well, and hope you can maximize his talent. I think we need a second back as well. I think we need a guy to complement him. And I think just having that dual threat at running back, I think that not only is that going to help Genty, but it's going to give us more options when we have a quarterback back there that can take advantage of a running back in the passing game, and do some of the unique stuff that we see some of these other teams do with their running backs, where sometimes they have a guy split out wide and they have a guy in the backfield, and they can motion the guy back to the backfield. And like, we'll be able to do that stuff if we have a legit secondary back or complementary back. I think we need a wide receiver one. Like, we've been needing a wide receiver one since we traded Devontae. So, like all of those things are needed. Will we be able to do all that this offseason? I think, we can for sure do the offensive line. We can probably get a back, because, if you didn't know, there are some good backs available later in drafts. If you hadn't heard, but if you hadn't heard that, so I think we can do the offensive line and the complimentary back this year. Wide receiver one, that they may have to wait to another draft.
If the Raiders took Trayvon in the second round this year, would he produce what he did with the Patriots behind the Raiders O-line?
Hell no.
Yes, he will produce.
No.
He'll produce more, actually. If we gave Travion the same, remember, Travion didn't start till week 6. He didn't start till week 6. He was in a 3-back system. He has more than 100 less touches than Genty. And some of the opportunities that Genty hasn't taken advantage of, Travion would take advantage of. And Travion is much better in the passing game too, in my opinion. So, he's a guy you can legit split out wide on a consistent basis. Genty can do it too, and Genty has shown it. I think Travion is better at it. And I think that, if you listen to Patriots fan talk, they're like, bro, like, Vrabel is legitimately not using this guy at all. Like, we've been screaming from the rooftops for him to be used, and he just won't use him. We heard the Patriots beat writer, when we interviewed him before week 1, talk about, like, every practice Travion was doing something special. He's just a different level athlete. He's a different type of runner. So he'll be able to do things that Genty can't do. Genty's game, he's more of I think he's a better inside runner. I don't think he can beat a guy to the corner. He's never really done it. I think that's something that Travion can do. Travion can take more advantage of broken down plays, where Genty doesn't have that same level of creativity. I think he needs a specific kind of opening. And if that opening isn't there, like, if he can break tackles, then he's good. But if he can't break tackles, then like, Travion can create for himself. And I haven't seen Genty do that on a consistent basis.
I'll say this, bro. Like, a 32nd ranked rushing line, a 32nd EPA per run in the NFL, running back that lost his offensive coordinator year 1, a guy who just lost his head coach year 1, a guy who had team meeting with players on how to develop a scheme to block up front. With you guys expressing the Brennan Carroll hire, you guys clearly stating your point on how you view about that Brennan Carroll hire, what Genty did to put up 1,300 all-purpose yards as a rookie in the situation. You may not like Genty the most. Travion Henderson might be your guy, but to say that Genty didn't show anything or didn't show enough to be a 6 overall pick,
he did not show enough to be a 6 overall pick.
I would say I wouldn't agree. I would say he put up 1,300 yards in probably the worst situation in football. I think if roles were reversed for you, I think if Travion was a Raider and put up the numbers, 1,300 all-purpose yards, and Genty was a Patriot and put up his numbers, I feel like you would say, imagine what Travion would do if you actually gave him an offensive line. Everything that we say to defend Genty, I feel like you would use that for Travion to say why he's the better player.
No, I think Travion put up basically almost like Genty's numbers outside of touchdowns with much less touches. And I'm saying it's also you look at things in context. Did it ever, at any point, did it feel like Genty was a true difference maker on this team outside of 2 games?
Yes.
Okay. We can move on. We can move on.
Yeah.
We can move on.
I mean,
There's no need to. We can move on. We can move on.
We're gonna agree to disagree.
We can
like,
move on.
To
We can
say
move
that
on,
he
man.
didn't flash.
Look, I've watched every Genty carry.
Travion
I've watched
was like
every Genty carry. He's not maximizing his opportunities, bro. His vision has been spotty. He can't be the guy to the outside. He misses holes when they're there. He misses cutback lanes when he's there. His biggest run against Houston was him. Some guys over pursued, so he ran into the back of his offensive lineman. Some guys over pursued, and he cut outside. He broke a tackle, and that was great that he broke that tackle. But that wasn't.
Not to cut you off. Have you watched every Travion carry as well?
Damn near. Yeah, damn near.
Okay. Is the offensive line play better with the Patriots, or is it better, or the Raiders have better offensive line play?
I would say Travion has much less opportunities than Genty does, and when he has opportunities, he's taking much more advantage of those opportunities. Now, Travion also has a problem where he'll have these like 2 and 3 yard runs where it's like, okay, you see something there, but he does a much better job of when there is an opportunity, when there's an opportunity for a big play, he hits that big play, or when there's a cutback lane, he hits that cutback lane, or when he has to make a guy miss in a hole, he can make a guy miss in a hole. Genty does not do that on a consistent basis. Travion does that on a much more consistent basis.
But is the offensive line better in
your offensive line is better in New England? Yes.
Okay.
Is the quarterback situation better? Is the defense position better? Are they a 14-3 football team?
Who has more touches?
More
who got more touches? Who was the only guy that played all 17 games? Let all rookies in touches and all rookies in carries. Who's the guy that had who was the primary rusher for their team? Wasn't in a 3-back committee. Didn't get a start till later on in the year. Like, so we keep splitting these hairs. Genty got all of the carries. Everything. He was the primary. He got. I want to say I looked at this. It was like 90-something% of the carries for this team. Travion didn't get. He got like, I think it was like 30-something%, like 37%. It's not even close.
Yeah, I would say, because you said like context and situation matters. I think if Travion was on this team with the amount of 8-man boxes, with the amount of quarterback play that has been putrid this season, with a defense that can't stop anybody, Travion, if you want to argue Travion has more burst to get to the outside and make a big play, is he the better athlete? I would say absolutely. Does Travion have better vision than Ashton Genty? No. Does he have better contact balance?
He's displayed better vision this year. Yes.
Does he have better contact balance than Ashton Genty? No. Has Travion's big thing coming out of college was he was the best pass protector in the class? I think he has struggled actually this year with that. He's gotten better, but he struggled.
Early in the year he struggled. Early in the year Ashton struggled too, but Ashton got better during the year.
The questions of it is Genty able to take the football to the house, regardless if you say like, because like when the Chicago play happened in that long one, like you would say like, oh, like because this and this had to happen. And then the Houston big play happened where he cribbed another one for 50 plus or whatever it was. And there's like an excuse for that. I think the fact of the matter is Genty has enough speed at the NFL level to crib one. It's not off of athleticism of elite speed. It's his contact balance. It's his ability to not go down when people go to tackle him. And he can make those big plays. So if your argument is who is the better athlete at the running back position, I would agree with you. Travion has a different skill set than Ashton Genty. Who is the better running back given their situation? Like if Ashton Genty was on the Patriots right now with Drake May, that defense, and had all the carries that he had with the Raiders, bro, I think
exactly. No, we can't do that. Don't do that. Don't say all the carries. He has the same amount of carries as Travion. What did you do? Don't do that. All the carries he had with the Raiders.
Okay. If he had the same amount of carries as Travion, I still think he's a better running back on that team.
No. Not at all, bro. Not at all.
Okay.
You watch the game, watch the film. I'm gonna let the film will dictate it to you and let you know. I've watched every Ashton Jeanty carry. I've seen him miss holes. I've seen him miss cutback lanes. I've seen him run into.
But every running back misses holes.
No. But look. I've seen him do the things that if Zamir White did them, they'd want him cut. I've seen the things that if Zamir White did the stuff that Ashton Jeanty did, they want him cut. But since it's Ashton Jeanty running to the back
Zamir White
of his
is
guard,
not good.
He's not.
Zamir White's not good.
But my point is that if Zamir White did the stuff that Ashton Jeanty was doing, they'd want him cut. But Ashton Jeanty can do it and people excuse it. Ashton Jeanty has missed opportunities. He's created tackles for loss because he's created contact in the backfield because he doesn't make the proper read or he doesn't hit the cutback lane. He's done some of that himself.
And I trust your talent evaluation of watching film. Would you say I would agree. There are opportunities where he has caused issues for himself, but it's because the guys up in front of him, he doesn't trust them. He doesn't trust what he's looking at in front of him. So he's having to make these cuts. He's having to play with these linebackers to make a big play because there's nothing happening in the run game. He is
but my point is that there's been things happening in front of him and he doesn't take advantage of this from day one. So it's like week one, he didn't trust the offensive line. Like we heard this excuse in preseason. Where it's like, oh man, we're not even. First it was we're not running our offense, and then it was he only got 3 carries. And then it was we threw too much. And then it was now it's the offensive line. And like it was always something else. It's always something. It's just like just produce.
There's things happening in front of him at a much smaller level than a lot of other running backs in the National Football League. He is the most hit running back behind the line of scrimmage. 88.5% of his yards are after contact. We are ranked dead last in contact by the snap of the play. So he is getting hit at a much higher rate behind the line of scrimmage off the bat. He's in a losing battle majority of his reps. He's making guys miss behind the line of he's taking a 5-yard carry. He isn't fourth in the league in most broken tackles.
He's breaking tackles. Yes, that's not a breaking tackle is not making a guy miss. So he's breaking tackles.
Okay. I watch film, you watch film. Pharaoh, I've sent you clips. Okay, in the Houston game, is there not clips of behind the line of scrimmage? Jeanty is making 2 guys, 3 guys miss and getting a 5-yard gain, and it's all because of what Ashton did. He's making a run that we would say, oh, it's a 5-yard pickup. An average guy is not getting those 5 yards. If it was Travion, I'm sorry. He would have got bottled up behind the line of scrimmage.
No, I've seen Travion shake a guy, shake a free rusher in the backfield and score a touchdown, bro. We're not about to do this, right? We're not about to do.
I know.
I've watched both guys.
It'll be another show. We don't have enough time.
Bro, watch. I'll do film every Wednesday. We do every Ashton Jeanty carry. Just watch it.
No,
watch for yourself,
bro.
I
watch film too. You know I watch film too. You know.
I've watched it. Watch Travion too. Then you ain't watched Travion.
No, I do.
No, bro, you ain't because you just said he wouldn't make guys miss in the backfield. I've seen Travion shake 2 free rushes in the backfield and score a touchdown.
He can, yes. I'm not saying Travion isn't an athlete, that he can't break people, that he can't get to the outside. He has done those things. I'm saying at a consistent level, down in, down out, he does not make people miss behind the line of scrimmage like Jeanty. He doesn't.
Miss behind the line of scrimmage. He's not. He's not making people miss. Is he breaking some tackles sometimes? Yes. But he also stops his feet a whole lot behind the line of scrimmage. He's indecisive behind the line of scrimmage. He doesn't hit the cutback lanes behind the line of scrimmage. He's not hitting the hole with decisiveness when he's running. That's part of the reason why he gets hit so much behind the line of scrimmage. Because when there is a hole, he's I don't know if he's trying to be patient to the hole, if he thinks he's Le'Veon Bell. I don't know what he's doing, but he's not hitting. You know what the biggest difference in that Houston game that I saw was that he was running decisively. Even if he was making a mistake, he was making a mistake at 100 miles an hour. And when you do that, you produce. But he's so busy trying to play peekaboo, trying to do what he's doing at Boise. Boy, this ain't the Mountain West. You're not about to break these tackles at the second level.
Nah, he can. Yes, he does. Yeah, he does.
Not at the same rate. Not at the same rate. He does, but not at the same rate.
Yeah, I mean, this is gonna be a conversation we could have for 2 hours. So I mean,
we can have a conversation for 2 hours. Look at every single redraft.
No, I can though. It's 3 a.m. I got to get up in 3 hours. I can't.
Yeah, I got to get before, so I got to get up at 5, so that's like 4.5 for me. But
Yeah, real quick, man. If you haven't already, make sure to clock in at this point. Clock out, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell. We appreciate everybody coming through. Hey, this is why we had to get Ray on, man, because I knew it was gonna be a debate, a good one, man. It's a good conversation to have. But before we head out, man, I just wanted to, make an announcement, man. The NFL picks is concluded. My guy Mint, he was able to win the competition. He finished 165, 84, and 1. I finished 155 and 95. It's my guy Severe finished 152, 97, and 1, man. He takes the crown, man. We're gonna have to hit you in the DMs, man, for a hat. So I don't know what hat he's going. I think he wanted to get a 49er. Was it a 49er hat he wanted to get? Kansas City hat?
I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him a Genty hat. It says Genty behind the line of scrimmage.
Oh, did you say something? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Did you say something for me?
Oh, man, salute, man. We appreciate everybody coming through, man. We had to have this conversation. We're gonna have plenty of them this off season, and it's gonna be a fun one, man. Don't miss tomorrow's game, man, because we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it for sure. Oregon versus Indiana, Mendoza, Dante Moore. Don't want to miss it. But we appreciate everybody coming through. On the way out, coaching prediction, Ray. Give me a coaching prediction. Head coach. And depending on who the head coach is, give me. So if it's an offensive head coach, well, if it's an offensive head coach, you can just give me the offensive head coach. If it's a defensive head coach, you got to give me the OC too.
I think their main priority is going to be Clint Kubiak. If it's an offensive-minded coach, I think that's the direction. In my gut, that's what I think that they're going to do, or at least try to go. Defensively, with the Mike McDaniel thing, I could see the Saleh, because they did interview him last year, and it was kind of similar to when AP interviewed Chip Kelly, and Chip Kelly didn't get the job, and then a year later passes, and they go back and they hire Chip Kelly. We interviewed Robert Saleh last year to be the DC to eventually become the head coach. That tells me that they're interested in Saleh. So I could see Saleh maybe getting an offer, and then if he can get Mike McDaniel come as offensive coordinator, I think that might be a good pairing. But there's guys that I like. I like Chris Shula. I like the fact that he's been under the wing of Sean McVay for 7 years. He's been with him since the beginning. Who is he able to poach as an offensive coordinator? I don't know, because I don't think, to Severe's point, I don't know if he's going to be able to pull LaFleur. But one game I do want to just put in Raider Nation's ears, like the Green Bay-Chicago game this weekend, I think pay attention to that, because there are rumors about LaFleur and Green Bay. And for some reason, given the cycle that we're in, if there is a world where for some reason they move on from LaFleur in Green Bay with all the smoke, he becomes priority number one. So that'll be a caveat that I would put in there. So I would say, if we're going defensively, Jesse Minter, Robert Saleh, Chris Shula, those are kind of what I would be looking at.
Okay. 805 says there's a difference between watching film, understanding what you're watching. Online was bad, but Gentine has a lot to improve on himself in order to justify. But the thing is, I don't think it ever will be justified, because it's a running back at number 6. If your whole thought process is that you don't take a running back at that high, right? I mean, if
I'll say
even,
this,
even as Gent, because I know people are going to be, because I was one of them, right? And I know Severe is, where you take a running back at number 6 when you could have went another, you could have drafted a more premium position at number 6, right? But even if Genty, let's say, is a very good player, right? Very good to even great player, do you still think that it's going to be justified to take a very good to great running back at number 6?
I'll just give you my opinion on the number 6 overall situation. I think at the time, the best player on the board for me would have been Genty. Now, I know Severe like Tetaroa. I would argue, given what we know now based off of the Raiders, regardless of who you took, Mimbu, Tetaroa, Ashton Genty, we were never one player away. And granted, we were probably going to be in the same situation regardless of what player we took. We did not have the quarterback play regardless, to get the ball out to Teteroa. For him, I think he's having a better year in Carolina than what he would have had with the Raiders. I think for me, like Tom Telesco came out in an interview this week and he said, when we drafted Brock Bowers, it's not a position of value. But he said, I looked at the offense and I said, God, we need something. Like, we have nothing on offense. There's nothing there. So if you're a GM and you're convinced that Ashton Denty is the best offensive playmaker and you have an offense who is depleted of talent and you need talent on the board, regardless of positional value, you take the player that you're most convicted about working out and not missing on in the first round. So that's just my point. Like, if they were convicted that Ashton Denty was the best playmaker, the best explosive offensive playmaker, which I believe he was, then take him, because the Raiders don't have talent. They just don't. So that's just my take. Now, and I don't want, but you don't take a running back first. You build the O-line first. Like, I get all that. Like, that's a whole conversation, but it doesn't stop the Raiders from being. It doesn't stop the Raiders from being able to invest in that year two and have the talent of Genty on the team.
Yeah, man.
But when the talent is like I said, the difference between Genty and Amarion and Travion was minute. Like, the difference between whether you felt, I think there's a big gap. And my wide receiver 1 and 2 were Teteroa and Matthew Golden. Like, I think the drop off after that, was pretty big. Depending on how you felt about Luther Burden. Teteroa, you put Teteroa here, I think he's a better player for the Raiders than Ashton Genty was. I think that's, I think he's a better player at his position than Ashton Genty is. I felt that before the draft. The other guy I wanted was Will Johnson. Obviously, he went in the second round. Will Johnson is better at cornerback than Ashton Genty is at running back. I think corner and wide receiver are more positions of value than running back was, especially when you have one of the deepest running back classes of all time, and you have a guy like Cal Monangai who's, obviously in a much better situation with a better O-line and better play caller, but he's getting great production in the 7th round. That shows you why you can take running backs late, especially in this kind of draft. But the Raiders elected to do the opposite, and now we're making excuses about why Ashton Genty isn't producing because he doesn't have the supporting cast or what have you. Well, that's why you invest in that supporting cast and you get a running back late. If they're so dependent on all that other stuff around them, even if you take what people think is a special talent or a generational talent, and he still isn't a true impact player on a consistent basis, well, that lets you know that you should have put the things in front of that position instead of drafting that position first.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask y'all this real quick. Houston, man, appreciate the comment here. He says, okay, so he's saying Adrian Peterson. So if Adrian Peterson,
Pharaoh, don't do it.
If Adrian Peterson was available and you had the 6th overall pick, would you draft him, or would you draft, let's say, Membu, and you knew that Membu was going to be what he's doing right now? Would you go right tackle, or would you go for Adrian Peterson, which is a generational running back? But do you think in today's NFL it makes sense to go after a guy that has potential, that's showing the flashes that he's showing in Membu, who looks like he might be a long-time starter at tackle? It's early. It's only been a year, or do you draft a Adrian Peterson level player, or just Adrian Peterson at number 6? As a fan, I would love to see Adrian Peterson as a Raider, like, for sure. But I'm just saying, on how you want to build a football team, does that change a little bit? You'd be like, nah, I'm getting Adrian Peterson.
Change it. Don't say Membu, because we don't know what Membu is going to be. Say Adrian Peterson or Penei Sewell. Say it like that, because we know Penei Sewell is a top tier player. We think Membu can be that, but he's not established. You kind of put an established guy.
Okay, if you want to change it, you want a more established tackle. I just went for a guy like
that was available this past draft.
Yeah, and we know that Membu, like, he's showing up, like he's looking like he's going to be a good player in this league. But then Penei is more established. Okay, let's Penei Sewell
for sure established. Yeah,
let's do that. You going Penei Sewell, or you going Adrian Peterson?
Just say it, bro. Just say it.
You talking to me?
Yeah. That's severe. It's on you.
Oh, talking to me? I'm going. I'm probably going.
Dramatic pause. I thought you was giving a dramatic.
I thought you were asking Ray. I thought you were asking Ray. Oh.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. Adrian Peterson. Yeah, if you think a guy is generational, like I thought Adrian Peterson was generational. I thought LT was generational. I thought Saquon was generational. I was wrong. I didn't think Bijan was generational. If you think a guy is generational, for sure Hall of Famer, you do it. I didn't. I never thought that about Ashton Genty. I thought he would be good, but I didn't think he was generational.
Okay. So you're saying that, like, if you feel like there's a generational running back, even though there are premium positions on the board, you said use Penei Sewell as an example. Yeah. You're going for the generational running back at even at as high as 6.
You have to be damn near certain. Like, it can't be any questions. Like Adrian Peterson, only question was I think he had a collarbone injury at Oklahoma. Other than that, there was no questions. Saquon Barkley, there was absolutely no questions about Saquon, right? Like LT, I don't think there was any questions about LT when it was coming out of TCU. Like, those were no doubter guys. To me, I never thought Ashton Genty was a no doubter guy. I never thought he was generational. I thought he was a good player, but I had 3 other players in that same cluster. And then I had other guys that were later that I thought, hey man, these are some really good backs as well. So in that situation, you don't do it. And then also depends on your situation as, like, do you just need a running back? Like, I would rather get everything else and get a running back later. You can get Rico Dowdle just had a hell of a year. You know, like, that's a guy, like, you feel me? Like, Devin Singletary's put up some great year.
You would do that? You would do that with Brennan Carroll as your O-line coach?
I never wanted Brennan Carroll in the first place.
No, I'm just saying that was our situation, though. None of us wanted that. But
yeah.
If we would have took Armand Mimbu with Brennan Carroll, how does that go?
But peep this. Guess what else? Brennan Carroll is also our run game coordinator. So you lose the argument on both sides of it. Like,
no, I don't.
In that
because
case, what do you do?
Genty put up 1,300 yards with Brennan Carroll, a fired Chip Kelly, a Pete Carroll offense.
266 carries.
I don't care. It's 1,300 all-purpose yards.
I care.
In the worst situation in football.
I care.
As a rookie.
He's been force-fed the ball, yes. He's been force-fed the ball.
Bro, he didn't, for like the first 3 weeks, he didn't even touch the ball that much. He really didn't. So to say he's being force-fed, like, there's been so many inconsistent. There's been so many inconsistent. No, because I know you went to that argument about Chip Kelly saying, "Oh, we gave him 20 touches." A lot of these games were like 10 to 12 touches in the fourth quarter. In the first 3 quarters, he was getting 1 to 2 carries.
The one New England Patriots game was that happened. No other game did we have a lead in to do that.
So we ran the football consistently with him all year.
I didn't say he's 7th in the league in carries. He's 7th in the league in carries. So you want to put stats? You want to draw these stats? He's 7th in the league in carries. Is that not running the ball consistently by your standards? Since you want to throw out 1,300 yards without context,
a rookie running back. A rookie running back.
It's 7th in the league in carries running the ball consistently.
Yeah, you took him 6 overall.
It's 7th in the league in carries running the ball consistently.
I don't care if he has seven carries in the league. That's what you drafted him for. But the fact is,
you're making an argument that we didn't run the ball consistently. It's getting the 7th most carries in the entire NFL, giving a guy consistent carries.
Okay, the end goal, the end number of 200 or whatever carries he was, yes, it's ranked 7th in the National Football League. What I'm saying is the game flow that the Raiders were, especially early in the season, and there's no even debate about this. We watched those games early. Okay. The game flow.
Time out. So you want to put his carries into context, but not put the impact of his yards into context.
No.
The stats matter when it's his yards, right? Oh, he's put all his yards. That's just looking strictly at the number. But when we look at the carries, oh come on, man, look at the carries and when they happened, and nah, bro, we're not doing that. If you want to put something in the context, we're putting everything in the context. He wasn't an impact player consistently. He was not an impact player consistently. Is this the bottom line? 1,300 yards or not?
He was one of the biggest bright spots of the offense the entire year. Was he not? 32nd ranked offensive line in the National Football League. A fired OC, a 75-year-old Pete Carroll with influence of the offense. Brennan Carroll at offensive line, and he flashed. Everything. He flashed the ability to receive the football. He flashed the ability to make people miss, which everybody's like, oh, at the next level, he's not going to be able to do.
He was their second best offensive player. He was their second best offensive player.
He's not going to be able to. He's not going to be able to crib a long touchdown. He did it. He did it behind this offensive line. Like, he has flashed. No, was it just like perfect and great? Does he have a lot of things to work on? Absolutely.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't say perfect. Nobody asked for perfect. We asked for consistent. He wasn't consistent at all.
Give me one running back in the National Football League that would be consistent behind the Raiders' offensive line.
But I give you several. I think Bijan will be consistent. I think Saquon will be consistent. I think
there's a lot of guys. 1,300 all-purpose yards.
I think these guys will be consistent. If given the amount of carries that he's gotten, all these touches, yes.
Like I said, we'll have to do it on another show, bro. It's gonna be an endless debate.
It's good. Hey, it's good, man. Hey, finish your thought. You was about to say something, but if not, it's all good, man.
Good.
It's all good, man. Hey, we appreciate everybody coming through. Great show, great. Yeah, let's say it's gonna be my favorite ATS, man. I knew it was gonna be good. Man. It's a good conversation. But we'll have plenty to talk about the off season.
Trevion had 9 touchdowns.
We'll see who
9 rushing alone, bro. So let's think it's not somebody 10 rushing 10 touchdowns was impact. Trevion had 9 rushing alone. Like, bro, that's like I'm saying. Like we just it's nonsense, bro. It's nonsense.
Pharaoh, I love you. Pharaoh's got the easiest job of all this. He just gets to sit. Like, I see what he's doing, bro. I see what he's doing.
Look,
he's not smooth.
5 of those touchdowns came in 2 games. 5 of those touchdowns for Genty came in 2 games. 3 against the Bears, 2 against Houston. That's 2 games worth of impact, worth half of his touchdowns. Like, knock it off, bro. We want to throw out these numbers and not add context. Don't do it, bro. I watched every single game. Like, you ain't doing that with me, bro. That might work with these other people. It ain't working over here.
Oh man, hey man, look, I said we're gonna have plenty of these conversations. Severe, man, let the people know where they can find you, what to look forward to, all that good stuff, man.
Yeah, man, y'all know what it is. The Severe Raider. You can find me stepping on Genty's neck. I'm playing that.
Oh my gosh!
You can find me. You guys know what it is, man. The Severe Raider. YouTube, TikTok, IG, Snapchat, X, everywhere. The Severe Raider. Sundays and Wednesdays with my dog, Chris from Protect the Shield, and 805 Raider in the Raider War Room. Wednesdays we break down film. Make sure y'all tune in if y'all want to see every action Genty carry with the proper context. What could have happened? What should have happened? Tap in with your boy. Y'all might take away something from that. And then obviously Tuesdays and Thursdays, my guy PharoahNFL, the 50-50 show and Around the Shield. Tap in with us, man. Make sure y'all hit up all channels. Make sure y'all head over to Ray's channel as well, man. Ray is an OG in the game. Has some good videos over there as well. Make sure you head over to his channel, subscribe. Head over to Pharaoh's channel, subscribe if you're on mine. Make sure you hit the like button. And make sure y'all hype the video, man. And if y'all haven't done so already, leave a comment. If y'all want to be part of the conversation, I'm probably catch up on all my comments after this weekend. But, leave a comment.
Hey, man, salute to my guy Smoke, man. Appreciate the super chat. Hey, you coming through in the end. He said I was going to call it a night because I was going to get up at 5:30, but this must-see TV, Pharaoh, a.k.a. Kenny Bayless, tonight. Much love, y'all, man. Appreciate you coming through. Appreciate
I know what Pharaoh said.
Yeah, man. Hey, look, we'll be back at it next week. 50-50 show. My guy Ray, man. Hey, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to his YouTube channel. The original, the undrafted show, man. Man, we've been doing it. We've been doing it for a long time. We had to get him back. He's a busy guy, but hopefully we'll get him back again and to talk about the offseason, the draft. Obviously, like I said, tomorrow's game is going to be big, and man, we're looking forward to finding out who the next head coach for the Raiders are, and from there we'll figure out how this offseason is going to go, because then we can start connecting the dots. Right now, we don't really know who's the head coach going to be, the offensive coordinator, if it's the offensive head coach. The DC is going to be very important. So we'll get into all that, man. And yeah, if you haven't already, definitely subscribe, hit that notification bell. Give us a follow all over social media. Obviously, myself, PharoahNFL, the Real Raider Ray, the Severe Raider. Also give us a follow on Around the Shield on IG and on Twitter. But any last thoughts before we head out, Severe, Ray?
I'll say this. This conversation, this is what needs to happen in the Raiders building. Yeah, we can carry it on. I don't care. But these are the kind of conversations I feel like need to happen in the Raiders organization to get them in the right direction. Like regardless if me and Sabir agree on a player or regardless of that, I think it's good to have these discussions for sure.
Nah, facts, man. Everybody talking about how good the show is, man. So we appreciate everybody coming through and having this great conversation. Was good next year at Levi's. Severe was good. Hey, is the Super Bowl? The Super Bowl's in isn't it? It's in is it out here? Barry, I think you're muted, Severe.
Oh no, the audio's.
Oh man, Ray got you. He got the last laugh.
There's that point.
Hey, say something about Genty. Say something about
Fernando. Is it working?
Yes, working.
He did.
Stepping on Trayvion's neck.
Ray got. He stole my IT people from the draft. I see what you're doing, Ray.
Yep.
I see what you're doing. Man, let's do it. Hey, I'm good. Hey, I think you're talking about the Raiders playing at Levi's. I'll go up there for a game, man. I'm not. You know.
Oh, you talking about the game for sure? Oh yeah, definitely. We going to that game. Yeah. They play the 49ers next year?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we doing it.
They play the Saints too. I might do the Saints game too.
Ray, you're gonna have to come out to the Bay, man. You're gonna have to
just invite me. Let me know. We'll all get together.
You're gonna have to make it happen. You're gonna have to make it happen for sure. For sure. But yeah, man, we'll be back next week, man. Just say Severe. Ray, it's just a conversation.
Hey, could you imagine walking past? Could you imagine sitting by me, Severe, in like a stadium? Genty messes up in the debates, or walking by us as we're leaving the stadium.
I told you so.
Or after Genty goes for he scores a 50-yard touchdown, and Ray's just looking at me like this, and I'm eating the popcorn, and Ray's just like,
I ain't gonna say nothing.
Oh man. Hey, this Fire Deuce Gooden. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, man.
I didn't see that coming.
And
Mike G, man.
Bro.
Salute. Appreciate you coming through, man. But we up out of here, man. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.